Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. Welcome to episode 221 of Defining Duke and Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by a man with no heat problems, Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, good sir?
You know, I ain't got my hoodie on like some people. I ain't got my the beanie on. Yeah, a little nice and warm over here. I heard things are different. Other places. What's going on, man? Why are you in the winter? What's going on?
I'm surprised we can't see my breath right now. So yeah, I just normally we record our shows around like 3:30. You know, Cog and I are famously late to everything, so you know we'll end up like delaying a handful of times. Today it was a multi-hour delay because me and my wife have made the smart choice to try to avoid an oil bill, because refilling your oil, it's a lot of money. But oh my God, our house was literally an ice cube. It was like 50 degrees in here, no exaggeration. So I was saying on the thermostat, it was so cold in here. But we're like, dude, it's almost spring. Like we can hold out. We're like right there. But today was the breaking point. Like we woke up and it was just shivering cold. And we were like, we got it. Like, yo, hi, how's it going? We need an oil refill. I had to like go into the furnace, reset things, get everything going. Fortunately, now we're starting to warm up, but like I'm wearing this beanie less because I'm cold, more because like I wasn't able to shower because we like were running out of hot water. Like, dude, we were just really scratching and clawing by here,
bro.
Yeah, but I'm here to talk video games, so we're good.
All right,
as long as the electricity and the internet are on, that's fine.
That's it.
That's fine. I don't need to shower.
Listen, normally the hustle would be like get the little space heater. You know what I'm saying? Get the little.
Yeah, I didn't want to go that far. We were just trying to avoid the refill before like the prices drop, and because it's not, you're not using as much in the winter time and whatnot. But we couldn't hold out. I was like, okay, that's a problem for future, Maddie. We'll look at that bill later.
I feel you, bro. Sometimes sacrifices has to be made. But I understand the mindset of why.
Yeah, bro. I was grinding so hard, but dude, when I was like, the problem was, my mouse hand was like brick, like just so cold. So yeah,
that's when you know, bro. Yeah,
it's like we can't do this anymore. So now the blood's flowing. I'm warm. I'm cozy. Got Rufus over here. He's chilling. Nice and snug. Yeah. He was the only one who was like doing, you can't even see him on camera now, but like he was the only one who was doing great with all of this because he got to sleep in bed with us because he's like a furnace. So
so he's the heat box. So
yeah. We're calling the audible. He's the cost cut and play. Bring him into the force.
Yo, it's funny you said that because I'm playing KCD. There's a perk in KCD where you can get increased benefit from sleep when you sleep with your dog. And like literally, there's a perk for Mutt in KCD too.
I didn't know that.
It's hilarious. Yes.
I did not know that.
It's part of the Hound Master perk. I'm very proficient in that tree. So I was like, if you sleep in another bed, but because you have a dog, it provides extra warmth, extra courage, a stat boost perk. That's the perk thing, man.
Dude, Rufus is such a warm dog. It's crazy. So yeah, we were good when it was bedtime, but otherwise we were fighting an uphill battle. But that's what's going on here. How are you doing, sir?
Hanging, man. I was just dealing with everything's been fine until like last week. We get into the health as well. So, but last week I kind of been on some like, all right, I got to reevaluate. Summer's coming. The road to Tokyo's coming. So, your boy, I'm in a good pocket, but I always have this self-conscious thing about the legs.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? I work hard, but we know a lot of it's genetic, right?
Sure.
And, shout out to my, the realm of the Dukes and the realm of the Lords who, you got them calves and you got the quad, you got the things that Cog is jealous of. Because I'm strong. My legs are strong. I'm like, 4 or 5 plates. I mean, 8 to 10 plates sometimes on a good day, you know what I'm saying? On a leg press. Like, your boy is strong. But, you don't see the visual representation.
I get it.
So I started to ramp up. Like, you know what? Let me get back on my, 2-3 times a week leg day, right? Try to ramp up.
Yeah.
Bro, my body was like, okay. We see what you're trying to do. Bro, I had to when you got they call it DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness.
Mm-hmm.
because I was killing legs, hammies, calf. I was doing a whole bunch of routine, but I did it like twice a week. My body was like, all right, you need to relax, bro. And it took I'm on day 3 of that. And I got like the leg fatigue.
The jelly, like going downstairs.
Yeah, but it's like that. It's that dead leg, it's like tired leg syndrome, where it's just kind of not hurting, but you really feel it. Yeah. So I said, all right. And I'm also a person that has a little bit of a circulation things every once in a while with legs. So, but what came to the rescue, bro? Damn compression socks, boy.
Yeah,
compression socks, boy.
Yeah.
Woo, threw the bad boys on. Yeah. Now everything's starting to clear up. But I learned my lesson. Calm down. You ain't got to go as crazy 3 times a week or whatever. So I'm trying to relax. But I was a little self-conscious because the summer in Tokyo was coming.
No, I feel you, bro. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was like that's still something I struggle with. My legs have filled out more for my body size. But that was I was doing legs twice a week. That was like my thing that kind of pushed me a little bit over the edge, but still, bro, I'm right there with you. My calves, I remember in like college, especially when I was like working out constantly and like I was hitting calves because I'd be wearing shorts all the time. So, but like, dude, I just got these twigs sticking out of these
sticks, bro.
And I'm just like, I like, and it wasn't like I was big upper body wise, but it was disproportionate. And I was like, bro, but if people were like, you guys start hitting leg day, bro. I'm like, I do. Like, don't disrespect me like that. I do, piss me the hell off.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, my cheat code started to become 2 things, right? It was the 2 days a week of the legs, but I started to wear like tighter shorts, if you will. So the gap.
You're gonna get killed now. What's going on?
No, I didn't mean like.
What's going on, man? Where we going today?
No, because they design. I'll just say it's for men. They design shorts.
We doing pool. Why are we doing pool shorts? Well, explain the logic.
We're talking about it's got, nut and down, like you have space. They give you a lot of space. But when you're wearing like basketball shorts and like the room around your knee be crazy. The only difference is it's a little slimmer. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a skinny jeans, they're really baggy around the pelvis area, but then as you get down closer to the knee, it's not like a massive, like baggy set of jeans. They're just a little bit closer to the skin.
Yeah, closer. So form fitting.
Yes, that would be the right term. Like Gymshark does good form fitting stuff. So
got you.
Yeah, that makes you feel like, especially when you're working out.
Yeah,
look in the mirror, like all of a sudden I feel like I got quads the size of like a fucking state. But even though I don't, but that was always nice. That was like that positive mental reinforcement.
I feel you. That's good. No, actually, even though I'm clouding you, I know what you mean because I come from the basketball playing era, so I tend to always wear like big, shorts, baggy sweats or Olafs and all stuff. But what happens is they don't really show the progress that you're doing. So you constantly mentally always think you're not good enough when you have made gains, you've made improvements, and you're like, damn, but to your point, when you wear more form-fitting stuff or stuff that's actually your size, you actually see the progress. And I know, like, when I put on, like, an older pair of jeans, I'm like, oh, the quads is pulled out on these. Crazy. Like, you feel the difference. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, the clothing does so much for those who are just trying to, warp reality a little bit. Have fun with your wardrobe. It helps.
Of course.
It helps. But I feel your frustration too, because I played hockey for years and, just by skating, you're supposed to get bigger legs. All my friends were, but mine was just staying the same.
A lot of it is genetics, bro. And it's, again, shout out to the Dukes. I'll be jelly. I ain't go for it. The big calf lords and the big calf Dukes, I'll be jelly. I ain't go hard. I'll be looking, I'll be like, man. And some dudes, it pisses me off the dudes who don't worked out at all. Like they just was born. Like y'all never played.
Good defined.
Yeah,
like I know guys like that is a muscle that some people literally just have. Yeah,
straight up. Because I know people like that. I was like, oh, you must play soccer or you must play. No, it's just how it is. All my family is like this. I'm like, get out of here.
I feel you, bro. I'm with you. Well, we got a lot of health is wealth writings this week, Cog. A lot to catch up with on the audience side of things. You can write in over on Patreon, sorry, screwed that up. Patreon.com/laststandmedia, just like Jose did. Greetings, Dukes. I wanted to provide an update. 8 months ago on episode 184, I wrote in about adjusting to life after finishing college for my master's degree. I shared my concerns about balancing my gaming habits with less free time and more responsibilities. Well, I can tell you now, it was not a smooth 8 months. Maddie suggested treating gaming as a reward system. I tried that approach initially, but it turned out to be harder than I expected, mainly because of how deeply invested I was in multiple live service games. In my original write-in, I only briefly mentioned this because I didn't want to sound like an addict, but the truth was I'd stay up late grinding battle passes in Overwatch 2 or League of Legends. I tried to complete every seasonal event of World of Warcraft, Destiny 2, and other games. It became unsustainable, and eventually I started questioning whether I was having fun or not. Half of my gaming sessions turned into me logging in to do dailies. Cog mentioned making more of an effort to grab dinner or make plans with friends that get me outside the house. I knew I was making some unhealthy choices when I noticed that I was choosing to grind out some dailies instead of accepting offers to hang out with friends or family. Long story short, what worked for me was quitting multiplayer games altogether, except for keeping Marvel Rivals installed for the occasional weekend nights with friends on Discord. The other key change was organizing my day so I could end it with single-player games like Maddie suggested. My routine now looks like this. I go to work, head to the gym, come home to take care of dinner, and then the dog, and then sit down for a single-player game for a few hours. The best part, there is no FOMO hanging over me, no battle pass to grind or seasonal rewards to chase. I can turn off the game knowing it'll still be there waiting for me the next night. And on the weekends, I can make plans to go out with friends without having to worry that I am missing some in-game reward because the single-player game will be right where I left it. Thanks for the advice when I first wrote in. My gaming habits have improved significantly. Health is wealth indeed. We love the full circle story here, right? Yeah. I got a little worried when I was first reading this, like, oh boy, he said 8 months. It's been rough for him. Like, is he coming back for more advice? Like, what's going on? But I'm glad to see there is a victory at the end of Jose's road these last 8 months. But it seems like our advice also shined a light on something that probably a lot of gamers struggle with, right? Like the way he described it, it sounded like you were held captive. Like these games were jobs to you.
Straight up, man. They're like college courses, bro. It's a full curriculum, like dailies, weeklies, raids. And I so relate to Jose on that because as a person who is in that, Destiny / Marvel Rivals. And now, again, Destiny is actually decent right now, right? So it's tough. You think you're going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, I'm just going to commit, knock out a few things, and then I'm done. That turns into 3 to 4 hours minimum, bro, minimum. And it's that balance, right? And what he said about, single player game, I get it. Because when you do cut the multiplayer games out, bro, I've become so much more efficient as a gamer. It's crazy. The amount of games I completed was insane. That would normally be, again, half of Destiny taking up all the time. So what I would say, the only thing I give him credit for, this is coming from an older perspective, is I like his thing where he goes to work, heads to the gym, come back, doing it, and then does single player. Here's my new problem. It's like, when you get older, after that fool hit the system, and then to sit with a very narrative-driven single-player game, and the eyes, bro, you be like, oh, man. So that's the new struggle I have, and I got to try to work that out. So part of me is like, while dinner is being prepared or whatever, I'll try like to, because I know me. As soon as the food gets me sometimes, we call it the itis in the hood, bro. It's hard. It can sneak up on you. So that's my I got to try to navigate that part right there. So we'll see. But I like his strategy, man. He's being real efficient. What about you? Like, because you don't even do what you call it no more. Your little MOBAs and what was the other joint you was playing? Yeah, you kind of like everything. You cut multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I guess it's a trade-off when you review games, and I kind of tried to accept it because even Marvel Rivals, I think it's excellent. It was in my top 10 last year. Like I just had so much fun with it. I fired it up a couple of weeks ago. I was just having a blast playing it. Like it's an excellent game, but the reality is that like I am just so single player driven. Like it's what I'm always thinking about. As in, if I am setting up for reviews, I'm likely planning what I need to play and beat before then. Like that's just how I've gamed for 11 years now, I'd say. So that was like when I really first started getting seriously into reviewing stuff for Embargo. And I kind of like it that way. I don't know. I realized it like, because I don't need this. I've been trying to find that home-based multiplayer game. The more I looked into it, the more I realized like this just takes me away from what I enjoy most. And that what I love about a Marvel Rivals is there is no FOMO. I can just pick it up whenever.
True.
It's a great game. All the unlocks are there and I don't got to pay for anything extra. So it's just fun to like jump in, jump out. When I'm in the mood or when the boys are in the mood. But otherwise, like, yeah, for me, it's just always been single player. And, I find great joy in it. So it's just like a win-win scenario. So I'm glad Jose has found what works for him and his friend group and his family. Dilbun's our next write-in. Hey, Dukes. Not to go into too much depth here, but with my relationship of almost 6 years ending last week, and with Maddie being around my age and Cog's wisdom, I feel like it might be best to ask you guys for some mental health as well tips to getting over this hump. I know this might be kind of cringe, and everyone goes through this at some point in their life, but this is my first time dealing with this, and I'm having quite a hard time navigating it. I know physical health is always important, but keeping your mental health in check is just as important as well. Keep up the great work, fellas. Thank you for writing in, Dilbun, and thank you for being transparent. Every man, woman, anyone on this planet knows this pain for sure.
Yeah. I have thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know this life. I had a 5 year and 2 separate 3 years of relationships that ended. And, I could tell by the way he wrote, it's raw, it's fresh right now, right? So
I can tell by the energy. The message
I
has
can
a little
see
energy.
it. I know that energy.
Yeah.
I can sense it. He's going through it, brother. So let me, Dilbun, shout out to you, bro, for being honest and transparent. This is very difficult. A lot of guys are ashamed to express it. So look, the best advice I can give you is that right now, there's nothing we're going to say. The pain is still going to be there. You gotta deal with that reality that it's going to take time. And each time that goes past, it gets a little less, but it doesn't fully go away, right? All I would say is the first thing I would say is try as best as you can not to isolate. Because when you isolate, you start, everything is a trigger. You start thinking about the old time. You know what I'm saying? And you start getting into that depressive state. Yeah. So this is the time, if you can, to be around. This is where actually multiplayer games are good, right? Yeah. This is where you want to be as social as you possibly can. That doesn't mean you're going to be going out to the bars and the clubs and all that. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about be around your friends and the things that give you that cover space. Because when you isolate, that's the worst thing you can do. It can really stifle your growth. So yeah, look, it's going to take time, brother. The main thing is, one thing I like, he's talking about it. He's transparent. So that's already a great sign, because most people just get into that shell. And I would just say, just try to think about the things that you've put off during that time when you in a relationship, that say, like the self-improvement stuff, the stuff that now that you got time because you're not in a relationship. Let me fix me, right? Let me heal me, build myself back up so that I'm ready for the next day. And sometimes when you think you're ready, you're still not. Take your time. Don't necessarily feel a lot of dudes will rebound immediately. Like, take your time. If a situation presents itself, be honest. Hey, I'm just coming out of something. I might not necessarily want to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let that person know. And then hopefully you should be all right, man. But shout out to Dilbon, man. I know this pain well. Single gang, you know what I'm saying? But you're going to get through it, brother. We appreciate you sharing that. That's real honesty and transparency. I respect that.
100%. Yeah. This is, like I said, not a fun pain to feel. I will say that for me, I never had many long-term relationships before now my wife. I dated a shit ton, but like they were just not long lasting at all. In fact, it's really funny. I was telling Laylee we were talking about past relationships, and she was like, how long were you with this chick for? I was like a month. And she's like, you called her a girlfriend after a month? I was like, look, what did I fucking know at the time? I was like, I had no fucking clue. She's like, you guys were just getting started. I'm like, I called you my girlfriend after a month. What's the problem? Yeah.
Look, man, is what it was. Put the flag down early. You know what I'm saying?
You put a label on it, right? But I'll say, I guess I've been exclusive, and I've been heartbroken enough times to know what that feeling is still like. And I think a lot of what Cog said is what I would honestly put out there. The most important thing is to make sure you remain reflective. I think breakups are a really good time to assess. And it's sometimes not just like, who do I blame? But like values. Like, it sucks it didn't work out. You spend so much time and energy on this person, but what wasn't addressed that now I need that next time around?
These are balls, y'all. He cooking right now.
Thank you.
Cooking
Thank
right
you. Now. I just say this because that is what led me to my wife. I had enough moments with different women that I was just like, no. It wasn't until I talked to a therapist, though, that it really came to light for me, where he basically sat me down and was just like, he told me, like, you need to raise your standards. He's like, you're not this guy who, for me, I was settling for like a lot of problems, a lot of issues, trying to be the fix it guy. A lot of dudes and women fall into this trap. If we just fix this one thing, golden, right? My therapist was like, don't pursue relationships like that.
Mm.
And it just really struck me. I was like, okay, I get to be picky. Like, I don't know. This feels awkward.
Yeah.
And then I met Laylee, and because she met my needs. Like, that's all relationships are in a nutshell. You meet each other's needs, and there'll be trials and tests along the way where you'll see how far you'll go to meet needs, right? And that's what I think builds the strongest relationships. But if you look at it that way, that's the thing you assess, in my opinion, if you're looking into the future. Like, okay, you probably want to be with someone, make sure that they meet those needs, or that you can learn more about each other and grow to address said needs, and we all have our different preferences in relationships. So just, take this time to learn about that too. Right.
Yeah, bro.
It's, and while 6 years is a really long time, you can rebuild yourself, and this is great experience under the belt at worst, to just say that you know how to navigate a relationship for that long. One of my biggest fears when me and Laylee were starting to get more serious is like, I don't have like serious long-term experience. So, sometimes you feel like a fish out of water. You don't have that situation here, which is good. You get to rely on your own lived experience. So, it's definitely going to be that sort of, you're in a haze for a while. Time will be your best healer, no doubt about it. But what you'll notice, like Cog mentions some ideas of like getting that social pocket. What I think will get you over the hump, if you want to say as quickly as possible without it being unhealthy, is just make note of those times where, you go through, like, you play a multiplayer game session, you play Marvel Rivals with your friends, you're like, oh, yelling, having a good time. You come up for air, first person on your mind is probably this chick, right?
Right.
But you just have to celebrate. You're like, damn, I just went like 3 hours without really living in that. Like, I was having fun.
Exactly.
When you
spot that time,
plant those flags, you're like, okay, like maybe I can make it 4 hours, 5, 6. I'm going to go a day. And then all of a sudden, like, you start to go days, weeks, months. It seems impossible at first, but it grows each time because that, distance, those boundaries are established, and you're just living life. And eventually it just becomes very normal. And, once you meet someone you really fall deeply in love with again, you'll wonder why you cared in the first place.
Yeah, no, you
it's
preach
the full
it.
circle.
No, bro, you preach it. That was excellent advice. I mean, it's developing those new routines, right? Creating that new normal now that you had before you had something with someone. Now you have to create, something for yourself that now to substitute that time. And then what you said is key as far as learning about yourself. You have to learn, okay, what was the most important things to me so that for the next situation, you know what I'm saying? I know you always take a little bit of good of it, and also be proud of yourself. 6 years, bro, that is impressive. You've proven to yourself that, I could be someone's partner. Say for 6 years, I could do that. Say that's a huge deal. You always learn something. And sometimes it's the mistakes with yourself when you're like, damn, I could have did this better. Or for the next time, it's a little self-correction and self-reflection itself as well. Not that I'm blaming, you have to be all about blaming yourself. I don't want to get into that bad. But you learn everything. You take a little piece and makes you a better person. But yeah, this is great stuff, man. I think Maddie is cooking with that. And bro, we wish you a better mental health and appreciate that writing for sure.
Absolutely. Just hang in there. And last thing, take up hobbies,
Yes.
Just things that get you out, occupy you. Occupation is like the best thing,
Absolutely.
All right. We got Astro Parrot King up next. Hello, throat coders of lore. March is nearly over, and I'm here to do a Health is Wealth check-in. In January, I wrote in discussing what types of quarterly Health is Wealth goals we could have. My quarterly goal is to increase my average running speed from 4.5 miles an hour to 5. Unfortunately, I did not meet that goal, but what I got in turn was losing another half inch off my waist. I'll take that as a win. What about the both of you? I believe Cog's goal was eating healthier and Maddie's was to be more active. Cog is going to look great as Sailor Moon with the Glizzy King type of day.
Astro Parrot, see, you messy. I bet you know.
Always a little messy over there, yeah.
With the Road to Tokyo stuff, I know what to do. But look, I don't care. As long as we get King in that Glizzy suit, that's all I care about. That's the goal. So yeah, for what you talking about as far as like the quarterly goals and stuff like that?
How are we doing? If your goal was to eat healthier, you think you're eating healthier?
Oh, no, for sure. I'm doing really good. Like I have literally eliminated like 80 to 90% of processed foods.
Nice.
So I'm very happy about that.
Good. You feel it now? You feel that?
I feel it. I do. I do feel. I feel lighter. I feel a little bit more energetic. So that part's cool. I think for me right now is just now I have the battle between Sometimes I'm really good about sodium not being in the diet. And sometimes I'm really good about sugar being, and that fluctuates because my problem is the sweet tooth now. I'll eat healthy.
Okay.
Damn, I need a little sorbet or something with that little ice. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't satisfy with just the meal by itself.
Yeah.
I always gotta have, hey, you got a little key lime pie with that, a little like this. I'm a dessert guy. And it's bad, bro. So I gotta figure out a better substitute post healthy meal. And that's the thing. So yeah, that's probably the new challenge right now. But as far as the processed stuff, I'm doing really good. I got my little air fryer. I'm rocking and rolling my chicken and rice, my shrimp and all that. So I've been in that good pocket for that. I just gotta fix this other thing.
I mean, we're always going to be trying to adjust, tweak, turn something, right? But it sounds like you're doing great. I definitely have been more active, and I just weighed myself today. I'm down 5 pounds, which is good. That's what I've been trying to trim a little bit, nothing crazy. And I've been trying to do it through, I think part of it's I want to show myself to be more disciplined than I have been these last couple of years. So it has been like I meal prepped just yesterday. Like I've been meal prepping every week. Bro, I made slop last night though. Like I fucked up a recipe and I just had to like call an audible, and bro, I ate it today. It tastes fine, but like if I served this in front of anybody, they'd be like, you're eating dog food right now.
What was it that you made?
So I made a Cuban picadillo last week. And it was really good. Like this is a beef recipe. It's got some olive brine in it. You put some olives in there, diced tomatoes, cumin. It's got some rice. It's really good. Like I made it. I was like, holy shit! Like go mad. All right. Like we're getting a little complex in there. I was like, nice. I did it this week, but as I'm making it, number one, got ground turkey because I like turkey over beef personally. So it's already gonna be a little bit of a different flavor. I try to stay away from the red meats, but then. I didn't have diced tomatoes. I was short on so many ingredients I needed that I had bits and pieces of it. Like I had the onion I needed. I had a little bit of garlic. I had the cumin, but I'm like, dude, this is just flavored ground turkey. I was like, I have nothing to put in here. I have some of the olives. So I put them in there. I do a taste test. I'm like, this is plain. So I just go full fuck it. I'm clearing out the cabinets mode. And I'm like, I'm going to throw things together. So I find a can of cream corn and it goes. I find leftover sun-dried tomatoes, and it goes. Dude, I sent my friend a picture. I said, I just made legit wet dog food for myself for the week.
Roof is special.
Yeah, literally. Like, it looked like something I feed my dog. But I don't know, bro. It turned out okay enough where I was like, all right, for a week, this is fine. Because then I also have this chicken parm recipe that's just been ace for me. Nice and quick and easy. Yeah, just chicken, bread it a little bit, little vegetables on the side, potatoes. Get those complete carbs, you know how it goes. And that serves me like 4 dishes. Nice. So yeah, just my biggest struggle has been not having anything to eat. So then you get the takeout because we live the busy lifestyle. So it's tough. I did cave for the first time in a really long time.
You cave.
Cold Stone. I came to a little Cold Stone. I wanted gummy bears, but the problem was I went on the DoorDash and it would have been $10 to get a package of gummy bears to my house. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. So I go to Cold Stone because I'm like, what if I got gummy bears on ice cream?
Okay.
It was like $2 more and I got way more bang for my buck. And I was like, well, okay. I guess this is the universe trying to tell me something, right? It's a Lucky Charms ice cream, by the way.
Oh,
it was really good.
I love Lucky Charms as a cereal.
Yeah. Well, I stay away from cereal now, but yeah, it was really good. I say all of this, and it sounds like my trying to be more active is very unconvincing, but I've been getting like close to 10,000 steps in a day, just getting my feet moving, getting that circulation, that blood flow going. The weather, it's so much easier when the weather is nice, like it has been, where just go outside and it is not brick out compared to my house. It was more, especially lately this past week, bro. I loved being outside walking because it was warmer outside than it was in my house.
It's not the house.
It was that bad. We were opening the windows. We're like, come on, bring in the fresh air. Let's go. Yeah, I've been a decent amount more active. I've been eating better. And so I felt better. Like I felt less bloated. I felt like I was trimming fat. And when I stepped on the scale, which was not in the best condition, like I hadn't gone to the bathroom. I had ate food. I was like, let me see where I'm at in my least prime state. And like I was down a few pounds. I was like, hey, it was a good sign. Really good sign. So I was pretty happy about that. That felt like a victory there. So not perfect, but because they're like this week and last week have just been like, you know, moving a lot of pieces for the game.
Oh yeah.
So when that ramps up, I will have days I look at my calendar and I'm like, yeah, it's a nice, easy day. Like I know what I'm going to
Look
coast right
forward to
into.
it. Yeah, the good,
And then
easy
the
one.
phone starts ringing and the moves start getting made. And all of a sudden I'm like flying from one thing to the next and my whole day's gone. So
Gone.
yeah, I'm very grateful for it. I love working on it, but there are just some days that I get robbed of completely.
Straight up. Yeah, it's nothing you can do.
It's worth it in the end. You want to make art. I think there's a price you got to pay.
I respect it.
Shard of Odium has a good reminder for all of us here. I'm sorry for the long write-in, but I have a mental health is wealth reminder. If I'm being honest, 2025 has been a completely awful year so far. My mother was hospitalized twice. One of those times, I thought I was going to the hospital to say goodbye to her. She had a blood sugar of over 700. Yes, you read that correct. Plus, she had ketoacidosis, which is too much acid in her blood. Essentially, she was becoming a xenomorph. Fast forward to this past Sunday when we were on our way home from my in-laws and we were involved in an accident, including 3 other cars. My wife, Cog can relate to that. My wife incredibly avoided hitting the first 2 cars, but we were then rear-ended, totaling my car. 3 days later, my wife was rear-ended again and her mother's car at a stop sign. This year has been a lot, but my mother is doing much better and my wife, 2 kids, and myself all walked away unscathed. It sucks that we have this dark cloud over us right now, but it makes me so thankful for the safety of my family and each moment I have with them. As my favorite book series, The Stormlight Archive, Little Sanderson fan here says, you'll be warm again. This will pass and life will get better. I write all of this because I know there are others out there like me who are at their breaking point, but remember, it will get better. Thanks for taking the time to read this and thank you for the endless entertainment and escapes you provide me during times like these.
Heart of Odium. Man. Talk to me,
Let's
man.
things in perspective. Yeah,
puts it in perspective. I mean, the best thing I can say is like at the end of the day, you always got to count that blessing, right? You always, even at your lowest point, you always say, look, there are many people who are going through far worse things than I am. Now, as far as what you said with your mom, again, I can relate. My mom had a similar situation, but a different situation that was life-threatening at one point. And I remember that year being extremely stressful. Obviously, you guys knew about last week of the road with the Tukes and being car accidents.
Yeah, dude.
And very fortunate about that stuff. So, the way I look at it is like, look, life is short. At the end of the day, you have to count your blessing that you are still here, you are healthy, and that, look, your mom survived. Even through this tough, trial and tribulation that you're going through, you got to look at right now, you're still here, and there are things that you can still strive to and be appreciative of. So, hopefully the Dukes could provide some comfort, and laughs and jokes during this tough period. Because one thing I realized, like when I realized life, Maddie, everybody going through something.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Yep, that was going to be my bar.
Yeah,
it's a good reminder to be. By the way, not saying this for myself because I know I do this online and I'm obviously subject to a lot of shit I read, but it is just a reminder to be nice to people. Like you don't have to kiss ass, but being courteous, that sort of thing, that level of compassion. I know it's really easy to be snarky or whatever, but everybody is going through something, man. Like it is a fact. It's so easy to look at people's lives, through like the lens of social media and be like, man, they got it so good. And we do also go through stretches where like nothing's wrong and those are great, but a lot of times we all are dealing with something and it could be, small, like, man, I wish my weight was where it was at. Or, no, this is not me calling you out, Kyle, but like, man, I wish my legs were bigger versus like someone like Shard of Odium, who's like, hey, I just had like 8 million horrible life-changing things happen to me in like a small span of time. This has been a terrible year. Right. So it puts any of your complaints into perspective that I just always try to live in a pocket of like, there's always someone doing way better than me.
Yeah.
There's also someone doing way worse than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we could easily get into a woe is me state. And I get it, especially when everything compounds itself. But like you said, there's always, the biggest thing for me too is when the ops, I've had people who were former ops of mine come back, years later and just say, hey man, when I was treating you bad or going through this, or, we had this issue or whatever, I had all this going on in my life. And he's like, this is what we talk about, like treat each other with respect. And like, you never really disrespected me. I was coming at you. And then, I want to apologize to you as a man or whatever, because this is what was happening to me during that period. And I was taking it out on everybody, kind of thing. I've seen that happen too. So you never, you'd be surprised.
It's always because of something else I've noticed. When I get like emails or these sorts of like weird hate letters, can almost say 9 out of 10 times it's not because of me that they've done this to me, because they usually circle back around. They're like, hey, my bad. I was going through this and I took it out on you. And I respect the anyone who does that to me. I immediately reply to them because I'm like, I love that you can look in the mirror. I did not confront you. I just let you be.
Yep.
But that you looked in the mirror and said, like, this is not the behavior I want to do. And even if you're like a guy who sees this a dozen times a day, you shouldn't have to. Yeah. Like, I still want to correct this. Yeah. Like, that's good character. That should be always rewarded, I think.
100%.
So thank you, Shard, for your writing. It's always good to have that perspective.
Man. Much love.
Let's talk movies.
Yeah.
Derek Beek writes in, hello. Not a gaming related question, but just want to know what, if any, movies you've seen recently. I know Cog goes to the theater every so often to visit friends, and Maddie was working on filling in the movie gap in his life. I think movies are a great break from games with minimal commitment and stories that more often than not surpass those in games. But yeah, I've been seeing a decent amount of movies this year. I think it's like a weekly thing between Laylee and I. These last 2 weeks I've gone to the theater. I saw Novocaine, which was with Jack Quaid, and it's a really funny movie about a guy who just can't feel pain. And so he's like, it's a kind of rom-com action movie. And I thought it was hilarious at times. Like, I do like Jack Quaid. I mean, if anyone watches The Boys, he's Huey. And so he plays a very similar style character. So it works really well for him. It's funny. He's in like that Tobey Maguire pocket, where he just kind of has like a specific character he plays really well. Yes. And so this movie just felt well cast from that angle. So that was fun. That was a good ride. I saw Mickey 17, which was just very distinct, very unique. Nothing really quite like it. It had Robert Pattinson, who's like one of my favorite actors. And it's about a guy who's been cloned, and this is his 17th clone, and sort of what happens to someone who's died that many times and come back. And like, why exactly is he being cloned? What tests are they running on him? Does he deserve to be happy? Et cetera, et cetera. Just a really distinct film. Nothing really quite like it. But I've also seen some classics like Sixth Sense, Inception. Love Inception. Yeah, Inception's good. Is a really good one. Sixth Sense called that twist really early. I mean, classic twist, but called it. Yeah, just a lot of good films lately, and Anchorman as well. Anchorman's hilarious. Still
legendary,
classic. Because like we watch a lot of heavy stuff, and we always pick from a list. And Laylee's, I said to Laylee, I was like, why don't we watch like a little comedy film, right? And that movie's got still some amazing parts in it. So
it holds up.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been watching a lot this year. It's been fun. How about you?
Yeah, just been getting back into it. Me and King, because all our schedules and everything. And, people think because obviously we're family and, ILP, but we actually have to do a better job of hanging out with each other more. You know what I'm saying? Just us, like back in the day. So we kind of made this commitment, okay, look, once a month, I'll go by you in your area, go to your theater, we'll go see something together, and vice versa. So I think during that period, we saw Nosferatu, he's like a big vampire guy. So I'm kind of was learning that whole culture, what was going on with this thing. So that it was decent. I was like, all right, I see where they go with this. Then obviously the Captain America joint, and then we got to pick something this month and see what's going on and coming up in April. But yeah, I love it, man. I love to be consistent with that. And then also I would say with the TV series now, people are raving about the Daredevil. I want to get that going.
I want to see that
again, because I used to be hardcore on the Netflix one, and now I want to see how they kind of transition that one. So
that's probably which is good. Yeah. That's exciting. But yeah, for me, TV, it's just been White Lotus. White Lotus. And I fucking love that show, bro. So good. If anyone has not checked it out, go look into it. It's just really good stuff.
I heard about it.
Mike the Person's our next write-in. What it do, Defining Dookies? I just wanted to give you some props. You guys are the reason I bought a Series X about a year ago, and even though I logged in way more hours than Maddie did on his console last year, I still don't regret my purchase. Thanks and have a Maddie and Cog convinced me to purchase this dying console kind of day. P.S. Maddie, keep the throat coated and drop that game soon. And Cog, what did I tell you about staying out of the playground, bro?
What I do now? Where you caught me at? Shout out to Mike the Person. Yeah, salute, man. I got your Series X because of the Dukes. You know what I mean?
We haven't seen one of those in a while, right? Which understandably so.
Understandably.
I totally get it. Like, a lot of people used to write in like, yo, you guys got me to hop on the Xbox, and now it used to be like, oh, cool. Now it's like, our bad. Sorry.
Our bad.
Sorry. We didn't know they were going to, walk away.
Like, man, if it's giving you enjoyment and you, like I said, you got your reason for a specific game, or if it's the service of Game Pass or whatever it is, or PC,
Yeah.
right? That seems to be the thing. Shout out to you. I'm actually very curious. I would love the Dukes, the ones that write in and say this. I would love to say, besides outside of, yes, the Dukes, because you listen to us and you want to get part of the ecosystem, dope, right? But I'm curious, like, what was also the game or the reason in conjunction with us? Please write that. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. Last write-in before we really get started with the show goes to Grower and Shower. Hey, congrats, brother. Hey, Dukes. As I am sure y'all are more than aware of, the release cadence of new games has become impossible to keep up with, and I am unfortunately starting to feel like it is affecting my enjoyment of games as a whole. Gaming has been my favorite hobby, and I do not intend to stop. However, I am just having a ton of trouble lately getting hooked into a game. It always feels like I am unintentionally rushing through to get to the next shiny new game that I think will scratch the itch. Even looking at the past week, we have AC Shadows, Kazan, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Atomfall. It feels like too much of a good thing. I know nobody is forcing me to do this, but the FOMO is real, and I have a hard time not being able to stay up to date with the newest game conversations in the way I used to. I have quite frankly started to miss the times where there were a few big releases a year, and those would be the games in the zeitgeist for a while. Anyways, I don't really have a specific question related to this, but it seemed like a good topic of conversation on the show as of late, so I figured it'd be a good potential discussion point to jump off of and to hear more about any similar experiences y'all may have been working through in some time like this. Thanks for all you do, and have a now Indy is coming to PlayStation in April 2, make it stop kind of day. Yeah. Xbox ain't making it easy this April for y'all. Like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit before we regulate, I think. But any tips for our fellow Dukes out there who are having trouble, finding time to game? How do you make these choices? Are you making business cuts, business decisions, Cog? Like, we have so much great content out there. And it feels like the tough thing I really wrestle with is as I'm making a choice to prioritize something I like, I am neglecting something else that also looks like I would like that. Most times it was like, I'm going to play this because nothing else either looks as great, but I think it just speaks to the competition in gaming elevating where everything, I know it's like the conversation gets so negative online, but I don't get it in that every month it feels like there are multiple games coming out, indie, AA, AAA, that look really good, that it's like I could continue to play things forever, And it's something I struggle with where that neglecting is it used to be, I think, just easier for us because back then a lot of the things we skipped were like these 6-hour like throwaway like Iron Man video games or whatever. It's like I don't need to spend $60 on that. I'm just gonna buy like my one Skyrim, that year, and that'll be good for a while. We're not in that pocket, unfortunately, where you'll have a February followed by a March where, I remember looking at March from February and going like, oh, the February rush is here, right? We were like, hey, here's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, here's Monster Hunter Wilds, here's Yakuza. We're like, man, this is crazy. When we were looking at March, we're like, oh, this is going to be fine. But then like, here comes the Suikoden remaster. Here comes Bleach. Here comes Atomfall. Here comes all of these games that just Shadows look really good. Kazan is on this list, Big Chronicles.
Yeah.
All great looking, or in some cases remasters where they're proven. Like for me, Xenoblade Chronicles is just haunting me. Thank you, Gene Park, for that, by the way.
I shout out to my man Donataco. He's haunting me with because he's like, Cog, I know you love it. You love Transformers. You love this. And I'm like, really? So yeah.
Dude. And so it's tough because I think the thing I struggle with most is that I am skipping things I know I'd like. And there's and I've tried to find the in-between of like impressions of just like, it's almost become a battle of like, what is hooking me the most out of the things I am enjoying, which is weird to say, but it's like, when I say something like an Avowed is fine or AC Shadows is fine, the reason I'm not cool with fine is because there is so much better than fine nowadays. And this month is a great example of it. I think April will be another example of it, but it still includes these very hard decisions to make where I think my best recommendation to people is just wait for things to go on sale at least, because it's just such a rush with all of these products that you might fall into what Grover and Shower, I'll say his name again, is falling into, where you just kind of low key are rushing things. I do think there is a thing such as opportunistic gaming. I can't say what, but a review key came in and I was like, Oh, that's way earlier than I was expecting. I was like, okay, I'm getting on that. I'm jumping on that. I'm putting my hours in because I know what my next week is looking like, and I'm going to be a busy bee. So I was like, sweet, cool. I'm going to jump right on this and get it done with and enjoy my time with it while I'm free. But yeah, that I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be clear. But Cog, what do you make of this topic?
Yeah, there's no right answer for this. This is an extremely difficult thing. And again, for me as a content creator, that balance, right? Where versus stuff that I want to play, also stuff that we get opportunities for, things that we got to cover. And it's tough. I think I made this announcement on ILP maybe yesterday because I think King was getting mad. He was like, bro, man, I got rivals. We got this. We got all this stuff. You supposed to be playing together more. And wait, I'm like, bro, there's also a responsibility that I have to the audience. Where just like now that we get opportunities, right? You have to fulfill that thread. I feel it's wrong of me. I feel guilty sometimes playing things just strictly for fun when you know there are other things that came across your way that you should have to give to your audience.
Sure.
That's the balance, right? I'm just talking from the content creator perspective. It is extremely difficult. I don't know how the hell you do it, but like, bro,
impressions help a lot. Like that's what I'm trying to like. That's what's helped me find the balance of like I know some people like in a case like an Adamfall, like that you can give impressions. It's a Game Pass game, where it's like, hey, here's how I'm feeling after dipping my toe in the pool. Like I feel like that or tons of these games. Like I feel there's so many people just want to know what the initial feel is like. So I'll label it review if the game is done, which like Adamfall was, where something like God, I've reviewed so much shit lately. I feel like I cannot even remember. Shadows, right? I put 50
Shadows did an impression.
I was like, all right, I'm good. Like, and I was like, I think to me, I'm like, I think as someone who finishes a lot of games, there's something valuable in that conclusion. So I was sorry, I don't mean to take away what you were saying. That's how I do it. I'm just trying to be I already was calculated, but I'm trying to bring it up a notch of how much more calculated I am with the selection of like time spent, because again, there's so much good shit and I make huge schedule sacrifices to fit it all in, but just sometimes there is only one me and I am pulled in a lot of directions. And no doubt, I know that pain.
Yeah, bro, that's why I respect what Grower and Shower. I can't say that. That thing was so out of pocket. But I respect what he said because I do, as an older gamer, I remember and miss the times we'd be like, yo, ain't nothing coming out this month. You know what I'm saying? And you like, I could catch up. Not even catch up. You're still playing a certain game for like months on end. And you're like, I remember the time where you'd be like, yo, we thirst. When's the next thing coming? Right? Because the gaps were bigger. Now, historically in gaming, right? Early in the year used to be a very light time.
Yeah.
Right. And we always would get the shotgun blast off and the holiday wave. And that would be the concentrated time. Now it's literally an all year business. There is no gaps. And then we're just completely negating the AA and the indie scene, which we drop in gems. And people hit me up like, Cog, yo, you need to check this out. This is something you would love. And I'm looking, I'm like, yo, this looks fire.
You know what's funny? Tomorrow's the Nintendo Direct. I guarantee there's something there that gets like shadow dropped. I guarantee.
We guarantee it's going to be something, right? And you sit there, you go, man, and you just try to navigate. So the latest thing I've been doing is, yes, I do have my opportunities and responsibilities for the business, right? Of ILP and obviously stuff like that, things that we got to come across with Duke. But like the latest thing I try to do is business enjoyment decisions too, which is like, okay, there's no way I can play all these games, right? What is my heart calling out of the stuff that I want to cover? And then I noticed that's what I'm doing. So yes, there's going to be some half-eaten sandwiches every once in a while, I'll admit, but there's going to be some things that I'm like, man, I am loving this so much. I don't want to stop. And this is where my heart's at. And I'm going to knock this thing out.
100%.
And I think, that's what I've been on lately.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I talked about it with Jake one time and he put it really well where it was like, there's sometimes, you got to do these games because they're like the videos that are going to pay the bills. And there's games that you kind of just do for yourself. Like for Retro Rebound is a really good example because I feel like I know that audience. I don't know who the fuck is sweeping into Mr. Matty at the time. It's just like, because I'm talking about so many different things at so many different times. Like, you just try to moderate as best you can. But with Retro Rebound, it's a lot more defined. It's like people like longer form content and older games, but also anime games and retro games. So I know I want to hit a Suikoden or a Bleach for like 1,000% because I know those are the videos that people are gonna watch. Like those are the things people are kind of there for, and you try to surround. It feels good when you like it because then you're kind of hitting both at the same time. You are gaming for yourself and knowing you get to go to your audience and be like, perfect, here we go. Which is why I always say variety is the spice of life when it comes to YouTube, man. Like it is such a good feeling. I remember being in that Bethesda pocket and I was like, oh my God, there's so much more content I could do and ideas I have and ways I could implement it if I could just talk about these other games with some level of success. Yes. So by spreading my wings so much, I feel like I'm always playing. So I guess the way I word it is like, I've managed to kind of wipe out that feeling of like, I'm gaming for work because it always filters into my work one way or another. Like even if I don't mean it to, like it comes up in passing, it comes up in the podcast. It's a summon sign topic. It's a Duke topic, or it's a retro rebound video, or it's a Masquerade. Like it just comes up. Like I just talk in so many places that I'm like, these things are always going to come up. It's impossible for me to game just for me. Like even when I did Mega Man Legends, it came up. Like so, you know, it is what it is. It's fun though.
No, I get it.
You know,
I get it. And I will say when you game for you and it becomes content, I feel like sometimes that content is more fun to do because it's like such a natural, you know, enjoyment and reaction to what you're doing and stuff like that. And I get it. I mean, you've had discussion before was like, sometimes it sucks when it's like, damn, I'm hoping something would be great. And it doesn't great. You're like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. But I think what you said is really valid. That's the best thing we could say, grower and shower. You know what I'm saying? That you gotta pick those battles sometimes. It's not easy. There's no easy answer 100%. To it. But just the games industry right now, the way it is just packed, man. Yeah. There's no breaks. So you're going to have to make some business decisions sometimes.
Wrap in, man. Mm-hmm. All right. We're done with the write-ins for a little bit. Got some news. Let's start off with number one here. Speaking with variety, Phil Spencer is showing great interest in film and TV for their games. Quote, we're learning and growing. That sounds like our write-in. This process, which is giving us more confidence that we should do more. We learned this from doing Halo. We learned this from doing Fallout. So all of these build on themselves. And obviously, we'll have a couple that miss. But what I'd say to the Xbox community that likes this work is you're going to see more because we're gaining confidence and we're learning through this, end quote. So, Cog, seems like we should prepare ourselves for a lot of things to happen in the TV realm. We kind of have an idea of what most is going to be, like Gears of War, Grounded was another one. So I feel like this is where Xbox is going to go to bring their franchises to that next level, especially because we've seen how it can just elevate that player count and whatnot. So they're all in, and I'm very interested to see how they time things out, because if you're going to do a Grounded 2, for example, which I know sounds hilarious, but I feel like that small team's got to be doing something like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you got the TV show coming up. What better time to drop Grounded 2 in the TV show if you can kind of synchronize them a little bit? Not a bad thing. So what do you make of this? And Phil Spencer's growing confidence in saying that sometimes we will miss, but we will still try.
Yeah. No, I get it. Look, I respect the honesty on the we will miss part, because obviously I wasn't a fan of the Halo TV show series as much, the Paramount one. But I will say that, you know, when you have a Fallout, you know, in that resume, right, and you see that type of response, and you see when the lore is respected and, you know, the creators are involved, those are learnings that we hope will take forth from other franchises, right? We want that to continue. Like, we want Gears, we want people who are literally core to the franchise, the narrative, and Grounded. Again, you know, Obsidian looks like they have something there and they want to, you know, cook it, get something cooking. So I'm with you. I think that it's just one of those situations where you take those learnings of what works, and then if you can, because I think one thing that I have to give PlayStation a very good job is having a form of a release ready. So, like, even though it was controversial at the time, The Last of Us remake was ready to go. During, you know what I'm saying? So even though I'm not a fan of that form of a remake of a game multiple times in a short period, I can't get mad at the strategy
the business in terms of is there for sure. Yeah,
like it was business, corporate cog smart to have that, because you got a whole audience that doesn't know what Last of Us is. And they're like, wait, you know, that's that show. Okay, there's a game about it. Oh yeah, there's new joint right now. You could go check it out. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And you build it up, and then
Love that.
Exactly. And then, with Fallout, we, even though, we always used to clown a little, 76 during its downtime, right? But we saw what the Fallout TV show did. Like, it
Oh
was
yeah.
insane. And, they had the Fallout 4, what you call it eventually? Was it the, was it a remaster? What they did? Did they give it
Like a
just
next
a
gen update.
performance
They
boost?
fucked the game up though, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's still not fixed.
It's still messed up?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, dude.
So wait, what's wrong with it at this point, if you remember?
Yeah, so number one, they made it buggy. Particularly on the PC version, its load times are insane now. Like that's what I noticed when the next gen update hit. Like when you play on consoles, I think it's pretty good. But when you play it on PC, there is literally a mod to roll it back. It is that bad. It is a popular mod and it lets you roll it back. That next gen update is that fucking bad. And Bethesda still hasn't fixed it. And I think next month it'll have been a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
How you do this?
Yeah, they really fucked the game up, in my opinion. It's a lot of it's performance based. A lot more buggy glitches that just weren't there now. And they've just, I guess I get it if Elder Scrolls 6 is next. Like, who's going to do that? Who's going to leave Elder Scrolls 6 to go fix Fallout 4? It's almost like they just shouldn't have done anything in the first place, I guess. But
yeah, it's unprecedented though to see it that long. I'm shocked that it's that long and still. Yeah,
but the thing I've noticed, sorry, I'm interrupting, but the other thing is the Starfield creations. They did not change remember when I asked Todd that last June, and he was like, yeah, we're looking into it. Bro, those prices are still awful.
Jesus, where the resources?
A lot of this. A lot
of resources not being allocated to certain things, it seems.
They are. I've said it before. Bethesda Game Studios is 100% resource depleted. They do not have enough people. And it's funny because they've grown a lot, but they instead of doing like one thing, like most companies should be trying to do, they've tried to do multiple things. They've tried to do like, let's keep 76 up and afloat. Let's do mobile games. So we're going to do Elder Scrolls Castles. Let's do expansions for Starfield for years. Let's do updates for Starfield for years. Let's keep supporting Skyrim. Let's keep supporting obviously making Elder Scrolls 6. And it's like you're like a 400 person team. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, what you're scaring me now, because what you're describing is what the Destiny community is going through with Bungie right now. Like, it's now to the point where anything comes out, we assume it's going to be broken or it's going to be some bug or fix, and it takes so long now for anything to get addressed or fixed. Some things are still broken, and we're just like, wow, this is never. And again, this is conjunction since the layoffs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They haven't really been able to recover. So I guess it's a QA, it's a resource.
I
didn't realize that.
Not to make it like a whole anti-Bethesda segment, but I was reading some articles because GDC was recently going down. So Nate Perkypile, who was an artist at Bethesda for like 15 years, I think, or 14 years, and Jeff Gardner, who I had the pleasure of meeting, and he was at Bethesda for I think like 18 or something like that. He was there for a stupid long time too. Both of them had left at different points in a post-76 world. And in particular, Nate Perkypile has been very open about how corporate Bethesda became. Like, he's like, when I joined, I wanted to work on Fallout. It was like 50 to 100 of us, and it was really awesome. He's like, but now, like, he talked about how, you remember the location in Skyrim, Blackreach? It's like that kind of underground, joint. Fucking awesome. That was a side project, he said. He was like, someone just did that on the side, and that was like, someone just got creative and made that happen, but it was not part of the plan, not part of the schedule. Just, it happened. And they just put it in the game. He's like, we can't do that anymore. Like, we couldn't do that anymore. If you did that, there was such a schedule with Starfield that it was like, if you did that, you were like fucking the whole thing up. And when I read what he said, I was like, this makes sense with Shattered Space, because it was like, we talked about it. We said, yeah, it checks the boxes, but there's no personality to it.
Right.
Not really. It doesn't feel like anyone went in and tried to make something exciting. They just like, what makes a Bethesda Game Studios games? Check. Got it. And you see what you get here with that game and its reception, or expansion and its reception.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there were just really good reads. It was that, and it was also there was also a story that came out. Jeff Gardner balanced Skyrim in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks leading up to its launch, this guy rebalanced the whole fucking game by himself.
Damn.
Yeah, like that's just impossible in today's Bethesda's infrastructure. So they are too big, I think, is what happened. And I was an advocate for them growing, because everyone thought their games took forever to make, and Bethesda has agreed and admitted as much. So when Bethesda was growing and getting like Bethesda Game Studios Montreal and Austin and stuff, we were like, yeah, awesome. because we all thought they were going to go work on like the next big game. But instead they got all that new talent. They're like, all right, we're still the same small BGS, but you guys are going to work on different things. We're like, oh, cool. You're going to do spinoffs, right? Mobile games, 76 support. Yeah. So
gotcha.
too big.
Yeah.
This is a whole thing about film and TV, but too big.
No, this is actually insightful. And I didn't realize that was going on there. Yeah. And I'm just curious how they intend to resolve if they can resolve
layoffs.
Based on that. Yeah, that's tough.
But they won't do that, obviously, because that's the other thing is they're defining studio thing for a while before it was even a popular talking point was employee retention. Like, it was like common for people to work there for like over a decade, and that's what made them good. Like everyone knew each other, they knew their tech.
Oh yeah.
When most of your people there are like still working there for a couple of years, but it's not a giant family, if you will. It's
it's totally different
ball game.
Yeah, I'm starting to see. I think last point I'll say, and I know we went along with this one, but I sent you that post, and Amir, that the guy.
That was great.
And it really shed a light on the games industry right now and what's happening, and not only the retention and just how to survive in this kind of market. And it was really eye-opening stuff, man. He has a LinkedIn post, and I would highly recommend. I forget his last name. He was the gentleman for the Drummer the Duke listeners don't know what I'm talking about. He's the gentleman that accepted the award at the Keighley's in reference to helping game developers get jobs in the industry who are struggling and stuff like that. And he had this very heartfelt speech, and a lot of people were rallying because apparently this program that he does, it really helps try to place people in a very struggling games industry right now. And I just saw his post recently, and it just blew my mind, the percentages and how bad it is right now as a whole with the industry. Now, he is optimistic at the end. He said things would change, but he's giving advice from the developer standpoint, the publisher standpoint, consumer standpoint, and the economic standpoint about how games have not increased. That's a subject a lot of gamers we don't like to talk about, but why is costs and production stuff is going up. So it's very insightful. I would highly recommend.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of these companies are looking at film and TV, because that's a way to accomplish growth without changing the core of what a game is, right?
Yeah.
That post was very insightful because it really got into a lot of what I think I've been saying for a while too, is just like this idea of like these games are too big.
Yeah.
You need to make them smaller because the budgets can then be smaller and they're more digestible. And, like our earlier write-ins, people don't have much of an issue banging through a bunch of games. But when each game is like, last year I had a huge issue where like I beat less games than I did for the last few years because everything I played was like 70 hours. And I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, I always love a big adventure, but everything can't be a big adventure. Like, there needs to be a conscious effort from the biggest devs in our industry to make smaller things, because that's just like, it's needed. It's required.
It's required. There's too many games.
Point. Like, if you're talking about like making things that sound attractive, I think the problem is it comes down to like, well, if you have like 5 million sales for something like that, it's like, that's not enough for them. They need more than that. And that is the problem.
Yes.
That is the problem.
Good call out.
All right. Well, let's talk about Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves creative director Mike Chapman, spoke on the 7th anniversary of the game. It has indeed been that long, and he confirmed that the game will have 5 more years of support as they have it all planned out at Rare. So Sea of Thieves will continue to rage on, unsurprisingly, with its huge player count boost come last year for the title when it came to PS5. But Cog, any thoughts on Sea of Thieves getting more support? Business as usual while Rare figures out Everwild, I'm guessing.
Look, shout out to Rare. Obviously, I'm not like the huge Sea of Thieves guy, but they got one. I can't deny the fact that, this could continue success in the quote unquote live service, bag, that it's very hard to crack, and to see, people still engaging with the content. Obviously now multiple platforms engaging with the platform, the content. We saw the PS5 numbers last year, and we were like, wow, this is really impressive. So salute to them in the roadmap. Obviously hardcore fans of Rare still would like to see what else is going on, and Everwild and all the other projects that they got going on. But I can't deny, because I was there from the inception of Sea of Thieves, and it was a little rough at first. You know what I'm saying? It was, Kraken was lacking. There were things that weren't in place, but we saw how fun it was and the potential of it. And then shout out to the mayor, Ben, and he's been playing that and it's been rocking. He's he's a stalwart in that community. To see where they are now is just tremendous. And yeah, they've been rocking and rolling. They have not looked back.
So surprising too. Did not expect this when the game first launched. Not that I thought it was going to like crash and burn, but I did not expect. I don't know anyone in my life outside of Ben who's like grinding Sea of Thieves. So it's just interesting to always hear like, yeah, we're supporting it for another half decades. Like you have that many people that it's like, just keep going. I mean, I think a lot of the ways they've kept it interesting are those like cross promos, like the Pirates of the Caribbean one and whatnot. Like that is smart. So I'm curious to see what they pull out of that hat. But I'm glad to see that people who are enjoying it are going to get more of it. That's cool.
Absolutely.
All right, Cog. Well, we've talked about this 3 weeks in a row, each time a progressive leak. Now we have it official. It was a trailer featuring Troy Baker and Nolan North, which I thought was pretty awesome touch there. Might I add, these two are friends, but also to see two great adventurers, if you will, announcing that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is heading to PS5 on April 17th, as previously leaked. Is a thing that is for real now. So PlayStation fans, if you're listening to this, do not let us down. Y'all better be on this game. It's amazing. Top 3 game for me last year. And I will be thinking about it for a while because I just think it is such a unique, when we see like these tie-in games, these IP driven games of like, the things that you've known about before, licensed games, they usually have to fit a certain mold, but Indiana Jones just like bucks every trend. And I love it for it. So just really good time. Please check it out. Cog, any thoughts on Indy officially going to PS5 April 17th?
Yeah, bro. No, this is dope. Look, at the end of the day, shout out to Machine Games, man. I'm with you. Like that was literally one of my top 3 games of the year. That game was phenomenal. I love what they did, the unique aspect. Again, Todd Howard's fingerprints and love for the character of Indy is all over the title. And the thing that's surprising, once again, I don't know if you saw the pre-order on the PS5 page, and I was just like, wow. Look what's number 1. I could not believe it. Again, it's up there. It's Forza.
Good.
And these games are topping the PlayStation 5 store pre-order, PlayStation Store pre-order. It's the most expensive version kind of thing. So look,
because they're doing the early access again.
They're doing paying early access.
Bro, it's not even like it's been out like a couple of months.
For like I said, so what does that tell you? It goes back to my theory, which is like, bro, they didn't necessarily like your music. It wasn't that the games were good. Yeah. It's that, at the end of the day, we want to play it where we want to play it. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, I know it's still early, but we get more data points that show maybe this strategy is the right strategy because they are going to be selling like hotcakes. And I was surprised with this because it was kind of I don't feel like this was a big build-up. I mean, obviously, we got this now, right?
If you don't account for leaks, bro, this was like very much a bang play. We actually technically haven't heard about Indy on PS5 since the Keeleys,
Yes.
So, for them to step out and be like, see you in a month, less than a month, in a busy month. I don't know. I thought it was very surprising too. I agree. It was very hasty. Like, I don't think your average consumer is going to be hearing about this. And
I agree.
I understand the marketing bucks are probably tight because, you don't want to invest too much in something that already exists and kind of can speak for itself. But, I'm glad to see that it's getting pre-ordered a lot. It deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a great game, man. And I'm dying to see. My thing is, I can't wait for Circana after the month of April. I want to know how these games are selling copies wise. That's what I need to know.
That is I agree. Next up here, Xbox has introduced game hubs for when you click on a game on your dashboard. It now brings up a hub and it shows everything from it where you can access it in the storefront, achievements, time played, and then you have to press another button to then play the game. So some people are having a little bit of trouble, Cog, with the double A button. It's a little bit of a mild hot button topic here in the Xbox community. So I'm wondering where you stand on this one, because I will just be upfront and say I like it. I do like it. I like clicking on it, having all of that information there, because number one, with these games, just expanding with DLC or whatnot, just being able to click on it and be able to access the storefront, get to where I need to go. I also just think a lot of people don't talk about like Xbox's navigation of everything. And I just think just being able to jump into that hub menu just from a click on the game is really good. Especially because it works that way in something like Game Pass, where, I click on a game and I can see all of the trailers and a quick snapshot of everything and then dive deeper if I want to. That's great if I can pin it to my dashboard as sort of like a wish list thing. Like, I'll check this out later. You can open it up quickly that way. To me, this works really great. So I'm fine with the double A button. My my time is not so precious that an extra half a second is really going to fucking kill me. I feel like for all the shit I have given Xbox over the years, I feel like this is where we're pushing it. Like, oh, bro, I gotta press A again. Like, dude, stop.
This is where we at.
One thing, if you press A and they give you an ad,
Right.
then you can press A. That's understandable. But it's like they're pressing A, and it's just information on like what you've done with the game thus far, and then you press A again. So I personally am okay with it. But I'm curious where you stand on game hubs.
Yeah. What's funny is obviously I'm in the top ring of the Xbox Insider program. I didn't even realize it until yesterday. I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, this is interesting. I'm getting that like before I was playing, I think it was Destiny or something. It was like, I got a splash screen. I got the game, my achievements, everything about it. Who else is playing? Also, it had my screenshots. And I was like, oh, this is clean. This is a very informative thing. Now, normally, when I want to see anything like that in the Game Hub, you would have to press like the start, the guide button. There's all these drill down steps to try to get information. And I think for me, this is really important, especially in a future where you plan on having multiple storefronts or the future where you try to get people into your ecosystem. Again, I understand the Xbox hardcore guys like, look, bro, why you making me press another button, bro? But if you intend to have more people in this ecosystem that you're creating that potentially could be everywhere, these are the information things that makes UIs better. Because one thing I tell people that PC UIs, but if they're going to start incorporating, you're starting to see the building blocks, the things that they're starting to do. And I like that. And then you got the technical capabilities. And then also pro tip, if you don't like pressing a button, then what you could do is you can pin the game to your favorites, or you make your little list. And if it's in your pin, it's just one stop, one button, one go, and you go straight to it. So you could avoid it that way if it bothers you that much. But no, I like it. I think it's a step in the right direction for getting a unified UI and an informative UI. So I love stuff like this.
Yeah, I agree completely. It feels like they kind of took a page out of the PlayStation book. Like PlayStation has like the like thumbnail, and then you'll see if you drop down below it, you'll see like time played, you'll see who played it, all that stuff. So it's a similar thing, just an extra click. So yeah, I'm fine with it because I think it looks pretty solid, and
it's clean looking to me.
I also, I don't know, I'm like an hours play junkie. There's like a little rush that I get when I click on that. I'm like, yeah, look at all that time I just spent. Yeah, like there's something about like that. I think some people see that and go, oh God, but for me, I'm just like, that's a flex. I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking at my out, bro. It was like, bro, you got every achievement in that game. It had my last 4 or 5 screenshots. I was like, oh, like it just built that association and that, that synergy and love for the game. So I love that stuff. I've always been on Xbox for getting, that kind of stuff in there. So yeah, I'm with it.
100%. All right, Cog. Well, we got more continued business tactics here from Xbox. South of Midnight is due out April 8th, as many Xbox fans know, but Xbox is once again doing their early access plan. This time, the premium digital upgrade will run you $9, but it'll give you 5 days of early access alongside the art book, soundtrack, comic book, music video, and documentary, all digitally, by the way, for the game. So yeah, 5-day early access, $9 here for a game that's not even pushing the $60 limit. So pretty good deal if the game pans out well. If that's what people want, you're getting on Game Pass, $10 game. We've already heard it's like 14 chapters long, like pretty short. So I think this looks pretty good on paper, at least. We'll see how the game itself pans out. But what do you make of this early access plan, good sir?
I don't have a problem with it, honestly, in terms of especially single player games. I feel like, look, this is the new practice, and we have to be honest as gamers. One thing gamers don't like to hear, and as I'm be corporate a bit right now, is the price of the cost in production has risen. Everything is so much expensive, but game prices for the most part have remained stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Now we just recently, yes, I know people like your cog, but $70, bro. I get that, right? But think about when was the last price increase? Prior to that. And again, I'm not pro price increase. I'm not saying, we gotta charge them that way, but I understand with the development costs, it's crazy right now. So if this is a way, exactly. If this is a way, and let's be honest, they know gamer FOMO is real. You want to be part of the conversation. You want to say you have it early and you want to play before everyone else. I can't get mad. I don't look at this as this diabolical thing, because let's be honest, you have the choice of just not doing it, right? So who's really at
us? It's like, it's one of those very unique cases where you wait it out, you get it for free. I mean,
Yeah.
not a bad deal.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so this basically what you're telling me is you have no self-control, right? And you just can't, they literally gonna give it to you for free 99 and Game Pass 5 days later. You can't wait, but you will be mad at someone that says, hey, I want to play it now and pay for it.
Like, most people who want to though will, because again, $9 is just like, if the game pans out, that's like a steal. It's just like,
exactly.
sure, why not? Like,
And
I'm already, that's less than your Game Pass subscription, right? Like,
facts. And the last thing I'll say is I'm of the thing that if we just support the debate, if I'm really a fan of a franchise, if I want, something, or I'm really looking forward to something, I want the digital. I want all the bells and whistles. Bro, when that Shinobi Vengeance joint just went up, I was like, all right, limited runs doing something now. All right, cool. I'm getting, like, if I love a franchise or I'm excited about a title, I am going to get 5 versions, everything under the sun. So don't pocket watch me, bro.
That reminds me of this one right here. You want to talk about supporting the devs? I've been out here fighting a war for my man Kazutaka Kodaka, creator of Danganronpa, because this is a headline in December of last year. It says Kazutaka Kodaka says they're prepared to go bankrupt and retire if 100-line Last Defense Academy does not sell. Everyone's like, yo, get in there, support them. But a lot of people are like, I'm not getting guilted into this. And he's been ramping it up. Like, his Twitter is just full of like, we're going to go out of business if you guys don't support it.
Hey, yo, he put it out there.
People were like, wouldn't you just come back into game development somewhere else? He's like, no, I would retire. Like, he's just like, he's saying like, this is it, bro. And so I did my part. I pre-ordered the collector's edition because I love Kodaka. He has not delivered for me since E3, which was 2017. But if this is the last time my man comes around, I mean, the demo's out. Apparently, it's really good. But if this is the last time my man comes around, that's another April game, by the way.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know, right? I want to be there for him. I want to be at the funeral.
I will be at the wake. Hey, yo. Nah, I feel, bro, I love hard. So when I don't want stuff to go away. Like, to me, this is the energy I don't mind. I'm not into this, yo, let's destroy something before it comes out. No, I want things to exist. And my thing is, even if it's not for me, I don't want the company to go away. Yo, I'm going to support, especially if they doing something that I'm standing behind and I think is exciting. So yeah, I'm in South Midnight. I'm in, baby.
Right on. Well, this is a tough year for releases. Probably why the front half of the year is so stacked, and that's because publishers are actively avoiding GTA 6. Christopher Dring of the Game Business, which was recently announced as this kind of joint venture between Christopher Dring and Jeff Keighley. I was reading a little bit into it. I was like, this is a very interesting, unexpected pairing here. They say that in a report, 3 major publishers have contingency plans at the ready in case their release collides with GTA 6. It is said one of them is, quote, one of the world's biggest game publishers, end quote, who said that Rockstar games always suck a lot of money and time out of the market. Other devs commented that they would just stay clear of what they call, quote, the blast zone, end quote. So, sky is blue, grass is green. Obviously, publishers want to avoid this. Sorry, but this is just interesting to see that probably one of these is Xbox, one of the world's largest publishers, and yeah, everyone is steering clear of this. And bro, Rockstar, imagine being there. They're like holding all the Infinity Stones right now. They're just sitting there going like, we can just drop when we want, and you will all clear out. Again, I talk about Death Stranding because that comes to mind right away. I'm like, there's no way they immediately thought June for this game, but because they probably wanted to market at least a couple more months, but they're like, yo, GTA, we know that's like a fall game. We get out ahead of that, we're clear. So I don't know, man. I just find it so, it feels like everyone is waiting for a hat to drop. Like, no one's putting out dates. It reminds me of like when PlayStation and Xbox are playing that game of chess where they're like, who's going to do the price first? Who's going to do the price first?
Oh, that took forever.
Yeah, like no one would strike first until one of them buckled. And this reminds me of that. Like, no one's dropping dates until GTA 6 is like, all right, here's where we are, y'all. Find your place, please. It's just like so interesting, man.
Yeah, bro, I agree. It reminds me of the movie Friday, the character Debo coming. And you better, when he outside, you better get out the way. When dudes is coming up with contingency plans, because they call it the blast zone, you already know what GTA 6 is about to do. So I'm not even mad at that. do what you got to do. This is about, being self-sustaining, not making, ego decisions. You have to protect the health of your game and the health of your studio. Yeah, bro, stay the hell out the way. You wait for them dudes to drop, and once you do, fine. And then you have your contingency plan if there's any delays, anything of that nature on Rockstar's side as well, too, just in case. And that's how you got to play it, man. It's the biggest launch in gaming. And again, we know the statistics of what we're seeing from Shakan and everybody else. This is going to be the driver to current gen consoles, because a lot of people will be forced, just like how college football was a driver, because there wasn't no past gen college football. You had to get a current gen console to be able to play it. GTA is going to move hardware, so you better stay out the way of this game on course. So yeah, I'm not mad. Do your thing, blast zone, duck down.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Just stay out the way. I feel bad for anyone releasing in 2025, truly, because it's just like already like people are scared to spend money on games, and then you got this one thing that's going to absorb, like you and I will play it, no doubt. Everyone's going to play it. Everyone's going to play GTA 6. There's very few games you can put on that calendar and be like, everyone's playing this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody's playing. No, for sure. What I will say, the silver lining is that once the napalm and the smoke clears, there will be more current gen consoles as a result. So later on, hopefully, for people who are now just getting a current gen, play PS5 or Xbox or Series console, and then that would help them now maybe venture out to a couple other things now that they're finally on the platform and now playing, Call of Duty and Fortnite and all stuff they was playing on the old gen consoles for a while.
Yeah. Dude, man, I was talking with another dev. I was like, I'm glad my shit's not ready this year. I don't want to be in this year. I was like, I'm good. Take our time. All right. Next up here, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been on one hell of a journey. That's actually putting it very lightly. This game has been just, to many devs, it's like if anyone paid attention to the development cycle of Dead Island 2, very, very much like that. But the game is now done, according to the developers, with an aim for release in October of this year. And they are currently fully focused on bug fixing, stability, and performance. And I've played very little of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1. I know a lot of people call it like a very treasured vampire RPG. So I do want to finish it up sometime this year if I find that time. But this is one that I was talking to Locke about it, because, Locke's like my go-to for old school RPGs, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got that one layer deeper than me where I'm like,
yes.
I just texted him. I was just like, how are we feeling, Locke? Like, what's the vibe on this one? He was just like, not good. He was like,
oh no.
He's like, this is supposed to reassure us the game is done. You show us a minute and a half. And he called him some creepy old dude talking about the game being done.
Vintage Locke.
Yeah. He was like, there's no way that this shit's going to come out in a good state. And I was like, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Like, if you told me the game is done, but you only show me a minute and a half, you have like no date of like, we're putting on like a showcase this date or anything like that. I'm with them on the sense of I'm just like, dude, I will be there for, I don't know if it'll be a train wreck, but when it first started off and you had the original creator involved and like Avalon was involved, it was like, okay, like you hear like a lot of storied hands getting involved, but that was like 3 years ago.
They not involved no more?
They're out.
Yeah,
it's like the Chinese room and a Paradox. Like it's just, at first when the original, that's when I was interested, when the original creator was out on stage and like he was really involved with the project. That's when I was in. But then like it was a whole snafu when like he left the project, and I remember making a video on it. Like it's crazy how everyone just got booted off. They cleaned house. They restarted the project.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a very deep well of drama. And so I pulled out after that because I was just like, this game's never happening. I guess they stuck with it. And now I'll wait until my review and be like, all right, let's see this fucking shit and see how it goes,
Wow, that's great. And I like Chinese Room, but I didn't know that Avalon and them was originally on it, and then the drama. Now they off the project, the original guys. Like that's crazy. Wow.
I think Avalon was. Was Avalon on that?
Or whoever, I didn't know. I didn't realize it was so much. I don't want to say development hell, but turmoil and
hell.
Upheaval. I had no idea that all that was going on. Damn, that's crazy. Because I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of Chinese Room, from Still Wakes to Deep and stuff like that. So I'm pulling for them. But yeah, y'all go ahead to tell me how this plays out. I am very curious with all of this stuff, all these moving parts.
Yeah, he was on this project. He
Oh,
actually had a post on Medium literally titled, "What the fuck happened to Bloodlines 2?"
wow.
So, yeah.
Way off. Okay.
Yeah.
Avalon's a legend. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, when you have Avalon as a writer for your game and you kick him off, like you don't know what the fuck you're doing. It's like the best RPG writer of our time, in my opinion. Just like
Yeah, I don't know how you explain that one.
yeah,
Like again, I'm trying to be fair, but that don't sound promising.
yeah,
But we'll see. I do like. I will say I do like Chinese Room though.
yeah.
I go hard for Chinese Room for Still Wakes the
I
Deep.
was gonna say
But
they did that, right? Yeah, okay.
I have to give them that respectfully, but I'm never going to disrespect a legend over them. But we'll see what happens.
Hey man, look, these crazy things have happened before. Like Dead Island 2 comes to mind.
Oh
That was
yeah,
passed around. For my KOTOR remake, I did not have Saber Interactive on my list of people who I wanted to be making that game. So add this to the list. Do we want Chinese Room
I
doing it
mean,
initially? Is that a comp?
Bloober came through.
Bloober came through. That's a good one. Bloober came
Bloober's a goat.
So
You know
we
what I'm
do have
saying?
these moments where fate just has to laugh at our plans a bit, and we'll see how it all pans out.
We'll see how it plays out.
If anything comes out well out of that group I just mentioned, it better be KOTOR remake. I digress.
Yes, I need you to have a good KOTOR. I'm putting that energy out. You need a good KOTOR. I need you popping off for now.
Oh, bro, dude, people will complain. People will complain. My neighbors will complain because I will be screaming all the time. People online will complain. He's a shill now. That's fine. That's fine. I give me that game. Make sure it's good, and
make sure it's good, baby.
No bigger champion than me. No one will fucking top me. All right. Perhaps I'll be a louder champion for this remake, though. Step aside GTA 6. Trails in the Sky remake is expected to launch on September 25th of this year, according to a leaked store listing. And we're recording this a day ahead of the direct, where I feel like this is where you would see Trails in the Sky remake. But very excited. I don't care what's coming out then. I will be all over that. I am for this. So good news there. I think this game will do really well for them. I wish it was coming out on Xbox, though. I really think that would be like the next step for them.
Still exclusive? I didn't even know that. Damn.
It's Switch and PlayStation.
Empty framework? What's going on?
I know. I just think Falcom, because they're an indie dev still. I don't think they have Xbox dev kits.
Could be.
Like I sincerely don't think they do. None of their games are on Xbox. So
really?
Yeah. And I'm like, this feels like the one you get on Xbox because it's like the whole franchise. Like this is where I think this game will sell really well for them, because everyone has been either waiting. I shouldn't say everyone, that's a little extreme, but a lot of people are waiting to get in on this game. Obviously, as I've documented many times, I'm like, I'm 12 games deep. People are like, fuck that, bro. But the beauty of Trails in the Sky is I call it a trilogy that wraps up really nicely, but Zero has some elements that also tie some knots on things. But it's a story across multiple games that people can digest and move on from if they really want to. But Trails in the Sky remake is going to be a beautiful starting point for a lot of people. And I feel like if they went like global launch, multi-plat, I still think the game's going to sell well. But I like a Game Pass deal for this game, bro, would be so nice for Falcom. So nice for them.
I don't know, man. I had no idea.
All right. Well, sticking with JRPGs, we have Persona 4 Remake on the horizon as well. Now, Persona 4 Remake was obvious, but we have our first true sign of life, a pulse, if you will. The website, p4re.jp, was registered a few days ago by Atlas. 2 years ago, p3re.jp was registered, followed by a Persona 3 Reload announcement in the ensuing months. Kanzen Zero has the write-in. By the way, I might have to pass this right off to you, Cog, because I saw my wife pulling in a driveway and this dog next to me really loud. So can I do that? Can you read the writing?
I got you.
Yeah, because I'm just going to mute podcast. I can see this going loud real quick. Go ahead.
Do your thing. Yeah, man. So shout out to Kenzen Zero. So sup, Dukes. Sorry for the back-to-back write-ins here, but Persona 4 Remake was all but confirmed in the same way that Persona 3 Reload was. The last time this happened, Persona 3 was announced 3 months later. If we think about it, the timing makes sense. Persona 3 was released in 2006 and Persona 4 in 2008. Naturally, these two games share a ton of assets, an engine, and a whole social link. Now, my question, especially for Maddie, a P4 lover, because I know COG is no high school game. You are correct. I'm a metaphor gang. But let me stop. Do you think Atlas really has the balls to drop Persona 4 Rewind before Persona 6? Thanks, and I know how to talk to girls. I maxed out all of the Persona 5 girl romance trees kind of day. That was awesome, man. Salute to you, Kansas Zero. I don't know if Maddie's back or he's ready to jump in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So what do you think? How you feeling about this?
So, the thing that this kind of tees up is like this seems like an Xbox showcase announcement, right? Like didn't P3R get announced at the showcase for Xbox?
Yeah. I think so. That and
the Tactica.
Tactica.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this feels like history setting up to repeat itself. I will say, if it does get announced this year, I didn't expect it so soon, but I mean, they're really trying to pump out a lot of Persona. And I as a fan, I do worry a bit about people getting fatigued because the sauce for this game was you would release a mainline game and then you'd have a ton of spin-offs in between. And they'd be like on different platforms scattered throughout. But Sega's identified Persona as one of their biggest franchises next to like Sonic and Yakuza and that sort of stuff.
We saw that document. Remember we saw that,
It's right there. It's one of their like big three, understandably so. And when you see, I mean, the sales are going up, right? Like Metaphor was like 20, what was it, 1 million sales in a day? Love to see that, by the way.
Get it.
Persona 3 Reload was 1 million sales in a week. So they're like hitting that million mark just pretty snappy. Where I think, I mean, Persona 4 Remake, the PC port of Persona 4 Golden sold like 2 million units when they finally brought it. Yeah, it was insane, dude. It was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was so anticipated because it was stuck on the Vita forever.
Oh yeah, there was no other place to play it.
When they came to Steam, it was like, oh my god, 60 FPS Persona 4.
Oh, let's go.
So then they remake it. I mean, Persona 4. I like 5 Royal a little, like a hair more, but Persona 4 is like absolutely the best known one, I think. It is the mainstream one. It is the one that brought so many people to the franchise. It is the most vibey. You, my friend, I cannot wait for you to play this game.
Before it's big.
Yeah. I think 3 Remake is really good. It's just tough to get into because of Tartarus and you could tell by the dialogue choices and the character social links, like this was them like trying all this for the first time.
Right. Being
experimental. It's like, we know what we are. We know what we're going to do. It's more like
the refined,
but dude, the music.
Sick.
Lord have mercy on your soul, dog. When you hear that soundtrack, bro.
Boys like that.
You're going to love this game. I know you're going to love this game. It is like a high school group of kids.
Back in the high school.
Yeah, but no, dude, it's a murder mystery game. And not like Danganronpa murder mystery. Like, it's a compelling murder mystery. I'm serious. Like you will. I think you will acclimate well. The question is with Persona 4 Remake is they didn't bring back any of like the OGs for 3, and I think those new voice actors and actresses did a really good job. Actually, I think Ken's original voice actor was back, but nonetheless, 4 Remake has to have a different cast, right? I've told you about this before. They had Troy Baker as a main lead. They had Laura Bailey, Yuri Lowenthal. Like, dude, they had the God Squad. It was so good. But I don't know if you can pump that much cash just into your voice cast alone, bro. That is so much. So
blow the budget.
Johnny Young Bosch as well was the main character. So just there's a lot of expensive voices in this game. And I mean, Atlas struck gold when they found all these voices and put them together in a game back in 2008. But I have so many questions about how they're going to handle that. But Persona 3 Reload also set the tone of like, how far will you go for a remake? It's like visually, you're going to go far. Like it's going to look really good. But in the terms of like the dungeon stuff, they're not going to redo many things. Fortunately, I don't think 4 really needs that. 3 needed the overhaul. That came and went.
Hold on.
But 4 really doesn't need the dungeon overhaul, as far as I'm concerned.
Why not, sir? Lord of the Dungeon remake, Duke of the Dungeon. Why don't they? I need to hear this.
Well, because first of all, it's much smaller. So most dungeons in the game are like 10 floors. and they are visually distinct. Like Tartarus is like just even the blocks are a little bit different, but it's still very repetitive. But in like Persona 4, each one is tailored, we'll say, to a specific character, not to the level of Persona 5, but like it's driven, like the music, the visuals, the
very
enemy
themed. The aesthetic is very
theme.
themed towards something.
Yeah. And so that is the difference there in sort of the visual presentation, where I don't think you really need to overhaul that as desperately as I think 3 needed it.
I'm being messy. I'm fighting for Oblivion dungeon.
Yeah. That's different. That's different, bro. Oblivion, I will show you 2 dungeons side by side, and I'll be like, which is which, and you would not know. You would not know.
It's the same joint.
Yeah, it's the same fucking thing. Persona 4 Remake, though, like since each dungeon is based around a character, they look different, feel different. But they're always about ascending staircases. So, you're always looking for the next stair set, and you go up, go down it, that sort of thing. None of them are like super mechanical, but frankly, I don't think they need to be. The best part about Persona 4, sincerely, is the story. Like the story and the characters. And it's the one game that gets away with just, dude, you watch these characters goof off. It is so funny. That's the thing, though. Without this voice cast, I'm like, I don't know how
they gonna do it. I see that's a big deal, because you got that emotional connection with those voices, and these are like some of the best in the industry. Do they bring them back?
It is one of the funniest games I've ever played. Like sincerely. Wow. So that is I am praying for whoever fills these big shoes left behind, that all of these roles, all of them, are like very tough to follow, I think.
So no shot the original cast could come back, you think? If you had to put a percentage on it, like
I could see a world where they invest. Like I could see, because Persona 4 is a safer bet than 3, for sure.
Okay.
So I could see a world where they're like, okay, like we're gonna get these back. Troy Baker, though.
Oh, yeah. his price tag. Yesterday's price wasn't today's price.
Yeah, like especially for how many voice lines are there. I would love nothing more than for Troy Baker to do this, because it would just be so cool. Like he was a great JRPG voice. He was in so many. He was in Trails. Like, like he was Olivier in the old Sky games. Like I would love to see Troy Baker come back to this style of performance, but I think he's elevated, beyond, like, this is a little below him now. He likes the visual performance. And I mean, when you see what he does with Indy, you're like, you got to respect it. I got to respect his game. But I would love for him to come back and do this. He does talk fondly about it, this role, where I wonder if there could be a deal done there. I just think it comes down to money,
The money, yeah.
Like if Scott Howard didn't want Troy Baker, they had the Indy money and the Bethesda money and the Microsoft money. I can't imagine Atlas is like, yeah, that's our guy.
Yeah, we gotta see how it's gonna play. That's a good point.
So we'll see, but excited nonetheless, hoping this gets revealed this summer. All right. This is putting, there's like tiers to leakers on the Reddit Gaming Leaks subreddit. This is putting his, I think, tier 2 status at risk here, because like Stasis is shooting for the moon with a leak that could elevate him, but if he misses, oh boy, he has stated that Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong, is planned for June 2025, the latest. This is a bold one, man. We got to talk about it just because of how bold it is, bro. Silksong leaks, dime a dozen, and those fans are starving, wondering what's going on. Last comment we got was that the game's alive. They're like, we're good. We're still working on it. We'll provide an update when we're ready. I've said that it's been so long, you may as well just shadow drop it whenever it's ready. I don't know if tomorrow's that day, by the way, but yeah, right. Imagine. But Cog, you have this June 2025 window. Silksong's been gone for a minute. You think this is possible? I feel like it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, I gave up with it. I was just like, bro, I don't believe anything anymore until I see it. It's just been so long. But if you're gonna come out, why not make the biggest splash? Why not do it at a showcase in that June, in that either Keighley, Summer Games Fest kind of showcase, or if somehow Game Pass with the marketing with Game Pass, because I believe it's a Game Pass game, right?
Yeah.
And you show it at the Xbox showcase, and then just finally, get the hype going. But yeah, it's long overdue, bro. Like if this will elevate Stasis, I will say that.
Yeah.
This is one of the the most anticipated. Everyone is like, what happened to this game? We want this game. If he nails it with June, then, people are going to be checking his line a little bit more on this. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is a big one. So it goes in that same indie pocket of these games that Xbox has Game Pass deals for, like replaced as well, where it's like, when it drops, can't wait to dive in, but please only be so opportunistic with whenever you decide to drop it, because I only got so much time. Come on.
Exactly.
Little update here from Jeff Grubb on something that I've been tracking and I thought others might want to hear about. There's been this rumor swirling about these remasters or remakes of the older God of War titles. Jeff Grubb says that on his Blue Sky account, there is a Greek God of War thing coming out this year, but it is not a remaster collection. Instead, it is a new side story project. So seemingly Miles Morales coded for the God of War franchise. I don't know what's going on here, by the way. I need to finish Ragnarok at some point because I don't know what's going on with this franchise anymore. I was excited because I thought like, oh yeah, this guy could only last 2 fucking games. Boy, could only last 2 games because here comes the goated Jaffe era Greek God of War that, I personally love.
Hell yeah.
I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to remake these. Like, yeah, give me that. But it's not looking like that's what's happening. It's going to be a side story. Now, I'm just curious because the reason I want to finish Ragnarok is I'm like, well, how does this all tie in together? So did you play Ragnarok?
Yeah, didn't beat it.
No.
Didn't beat it. Nope. Didn't beat it. I had dropped it. Yeah, I dropped it. Look, respect. I will admit I don't want to say the game is dope. I'm not going to mess on the game. It's just that, I will say I'm more of a fan of the Jaffe stuff.
The RPGification of God of War stuff.
Yeah.
I like God of War. I really thought the first one was good, but the RPGification of the series is not good. Like, I don't like it.
Don't get me wrong. 2018, when I saw Barlog, I was there. I was like, okay, new direction, cool. I just felt like, all right, we're getting more of the same. Now we're going to take the story. And for whatever reason, it just lost interest with me. But not disrespecting it, I dropped it. But I will say there's a lot of rumblings on social media. If you look at that God of War account, right, and they had both Kratoses, they're the voice actors from the past generation and in this generation and stuff like that. They are cooking up something, and it's all about this 20th anniversary. I love the energy. I love the iconography. It's like the gold with the black.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Super dope. Like, whatever the marketing rollout is dope. Now, me personally, yes, I'm biased. Being Jaffe, Jaffe's the homie and stuff like that. And I just like, damn, like, I don't know what the politics is. And maybe Jaffe get upset for me mentioning this, but I'm just like, I could reach out to my man on no level. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the creator of the joint. And I get it. I don't know what the situation is, the sensitivity, if bridges were broken. I don't know. That's a Jaffe question. But me personally, it kind of, you know what it reminds me? It kind of, Xbox fans will equate this to the Cliffy B treatment.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like, and again, I get it. All I'm saying is acknowledgement.
Acknowledge me.
I would like the homie to be acknowledged for creating one of the greatest franchises in gaming. And me personally, even what is it? The portable joint? Was it the They had a God of War? Which was it? Was it the Vita, the PSP joint? Remember they had a specific one for the portable that was fire.
Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus. I want to say
Chains of Olympus, bro. I'm like, these are iconic. These games on their own were iconic. So I was just hoping, that time had healed a little bit more wounds, and there was a little bit of a acknowledgement in some form. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But enough about that. Yeah, I mean, they're cooking up something. Shout out to Grubb. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that there's something. It's what is it? Most likely going to be not like something God of War related that's maybe not a remaster, maybe something story specific, maybe a separate kind of thing, maybe a DLC thing. I'm curious. But he's saying side story project. Okay. So then I would assume that's not just a DLC thing, right? Maybe it is a separate thing and they go with a specific character there. So I'm curious, man. I'm very curious how the God of War community is feeling, in reference to this right now. But I do see a lot of the hoopla right now. It's kind of cool to see them kind of re-energize and get that energy towards the franchise.
Agreed. Well, let's talk a bit about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know we'll get into it a little bit later as well, but it has hit 2 million players in 2 days, with Ubisoft stating the game has surpassed both Origins and Odyssey numbers in that respective window, which were both, by the way, just to include in here, considered successful games in the franchise. Now, normally when I see these numbers before Veilguard, I would immediately be like, well, there you have it. Like, looking pretty good. Nothing to complain about. It was a lot of noise. But Veilguard, there's two things that are informing us on this. Number one, Veilguard showed us that when you're immediately on PS Plus, I mean, not a really good sign to the game's success. EA themselves said it significantly underperformed by like 50%, right? So when you do that, players is the number. Got to look at it a little bit more with skeptical eyes. But the other thing is that a lot of people are looking at this through a window of like, what determines the success of Shadows? And it's really tough in this particular conversation because the success is not the game itself compared to the rest of the franchise, which it seems to be kind of in line with or doing pretty well. It is instead lined up with the impossible task of saving Ubisoft as a whole, which, given that Ubisoft's already been putting out feelers for Tencent, we just talked last week about people buying their respective IP, them planning to form a company with IP hosted within it that other companies can invest in and Ubisoft can still maintain control of, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there is already a decision made. Like, there is no secret. Like, Ubisoft is selling off. Shadows has nothing to do with it at this point. So I'm going to wait for like the hard numbers to come in the terms of like not players, but money, because I know Xbox is more engagement driven, but Ubisoft needs sales. But 2 million players in 2 days, not too shabby, especially, again, if people were happy to champion games like Origins and Odyssey with similar numbers as a success in this window, then I think we have to look at this eyes wide open. I say this as someone who does not like Assassin's Creed Shadows. So, Cog, your thoughts on the stats here?
Yeah. Surprised because, I'm of the mindset, I'll be honest, I don't really get into I shouldn't say that's wrong. I don't want to say I roll my eyes when I hear players, but I'm so conditioned, right? When you hear players, you're like, okay, that sounds cool, but I want to see how it does, because we've had examples of Veilguard where it's like, oh, the players were great at this early stage, right? The only reason why I had to take a pause, and it was shout out to Tom Henderson. He put out a tweet and he was talking about as far as behind the scenes data with the 2 million players in 2 days. And then he says, in reference to comparatively to other Ubisoft sources, and he says Valhalla day one player numbers 2.55 million. Odyssey day one player numbers 430,000, and then Shadows on day two player numbers 2.2 million. He says so Shadows should do about 6 million in its first month on the trajectory, where Valhalla did 8 million. Right, so I'm like, okay, they're in pocket. They're in. This seems to be based on this data, like it actually is doing well, potentially comparatively when we had similar player numbers with the other two. So look, that's a good sign. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is two things. One, what we said, is this enough to save Ubisoft, right? Which is a huge task in itself. That's completely different. And then also, what were their internal trajectories for what they consider to be success? Because a lot of times companies will sometimes have these unrealistic, we were expecting 8 to 10. Now, I will say though, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Assassin's Creed Shadows Twitter account.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh, it's been popping off.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of energy right now. And I would just say, based on this energy, I would assume they're feeling very good. They are very...
I also think, I'll be honest, yeah. They could be feeling horrible. I think people are just tired of it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'll just throw that. That's not me trying to take something away from them, but I think there's a level of like, this is already fucking really old at this point,
Yes.
The hijacking shit, it's just tired.
Yes. I'm feeling a fight back kind of energy, and we are tired kind of energy. So yeah, I think so far so good. It's to me, a good trajectory. I just want to see where the numbers come back at the end and what it is. But I at first, I will say initially I was kind of rolling my eyes like, all right, cool. But then when I did with Tom Henderson, a couple others at Kami, and they were breaking down, and I was like, oh no, this is actually trending well. So we'll see.
We'll see. At the end of the day, Ubisoft's selling off either way, but it seems like Shadows might stand a chance of making good money. Which is a good sign for the franchise moving forward, that there is still that interest despite all of the noise around it. And I mean, you want to talk about a brutal marketing campaign. I mean, a lot of this, while there is a lot of bad energy around the game, a lot of this was self-inflicted by Ubisoft.
Oh, they did some stupid things.
Stupid ass shit, dude. And it's just like the fact that they're finding themselves in that footing is like interesting, because it's like, wow, Assassin's Creed is just truly that established for a lot of people. So we'll see what the long tail sales are. That's what I'm also curious about, because we typically see like early stats shown like, boom, out the gate. Like, we're doing good. We're looking solid. People are trying to find out that success. But we'll see what it's like in a month or two. I think that'll also be telling.
For sure.
All right. Last bit of news here, Cog, and then we'll get into what we're playing. GameInformer is back. So after being shut down previously, they are back, full staff, retained. They were purchased by Gunzilla Games. They secured the rights to GameInformer from GameStop and brought back the entire editorial team, production, and beyond. Now, for those unfamiliar, this is from IGN. Gunzilla Games is the developer and publisher behind the free-to-play extraction battle royale game called Off the Grid, which is now in early access. It is also the developer behind, here, get ready for this, Gunz, the Layer 1 blockchain ecosystem powering community-driven economies in AAA games, including Off the Grid. Additionally, District 9 and Chappie director Neil Blomkamp is part of the team as Gunzilla's chief creative officer and co-founder. So yeah, like a blockchain NFT game studio, saved GameInformer. And not only that, but they established their independence. They have formed under a new entity called GameInformer Inc. So they're like pretty much off on their own as much as they can be. Print magazines coming back, digital's coming back. They're doing membership with subscription benefits to expand the scope of their video streaming and feature coverage. Very surprising news. I heard this in the wind a few weeks ago, and I was like, really? Like, no way. But they're back. We have a write-in from Sean Mason. Says, hey, Dukes, a very timely coincidence, or maybe the wife and I are willing it into existence. Over the weekend, my wife and I were at my parents' house helping them clean out their basement. While sorting through everything, we stumbled upon my old collection of GameInformer magazines. That quickly turned into a trip down memory lane as we reminisced about our favorite covers and the issues that left a lasting impression. For me, nothing tops the GameInformer issue featuring Uncharted 2, an absolute classic. My wife's favorite, the Halo 3 cover. Meanwhile, my dad's pick was the very first issue featuring the PlayStation 2. That got me thinking, what are some of your favorite old video game magazine covers? Best, Sean M. Thank you for writing in, Sean. But GameInformer is back, Cog. Your thoughts on that? And we can talk a little bit about magazine covers.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sean Mason and bringing back, willing it into existence. You know what I'm saying? This was such a feel-good news story for me. I'm a huge fan of GameInformer. I'm a huge fan of that staff. You know, I think one of the smartest things when they first in their inception was tying themselves to GameStop, because I remember, just to be a member, right? You'd be get a subscription to the magazine. That was part of it. So that was like a huge deal when GameStop, when the height of the used trade game market, they were associated, the magazine associated with the actual number one store in that regard. So, I thought it was a good marketing campaign. The stories were good. The reviews were great. For me personally, it really hits home because, us hardcore Destiny fans know GameInformer used to get the exclusives on all the new stuff. This is during the Bungie Activision days. Yeah. And they break the stories. You get to know everything that's about to happen with the DLC. And I remember even with the Rise of Iron stuff, this is kind of like the inception of Iron Lords podcast. We've kind of derived our name from the Rise of Iron DLC, and thus we became the Iron Lords, right? You know what I'm saying? So that was the height for us. So during D1, but always like there's got the rapid fire questions. That staff is really excellent. Just to see them come back and look, yes, the company associated seems a little interesting.
Yeah.
But I do like them having their LLC or their INC on their own, separated from GameStop. They seem like they have their own control. That to me is what you want. Is probably the best case scenario kind of thing. And the fact that all the staff is coming back, that is dope. All you want to do is be able to fight for your creative independence and be able to exist. And I think for the most part, they look like they got mostly everything they want. Yeah. They're still going to do print. They're still going to do, everything else. And then as far as the last old video game covers, I'm old OG. So I'm from the days of Electronic Gaming Monthly. And that was kind of like the OG. That was like the IGN of magazines at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So for me, I'm taking it back for my NES guys. You're going to laugh. There was a game, was it Wizards and Warriors? And the model Fabio was on the cover playing the K character. This is the days when games you would get no reviews, no previews. You bought your game based on the artwork on the cover of the box. And you was yeah, you was rolling the dice because you was like, I hope this game's fire because the box art looks dope. So I remember that magazine distinctly. I was like, yo, this was like it's gonna be hot. Like, okay, it was actually a good game, but there was many a game where the box art was fire. The game was fast, it's trash. But that's my era.
So many times. It wasn't until my dad showed me reviews when I was like 8 or 9 that I was like, oh, I could research these things before they come out. And so he just literally had me look up what games are 10s, and we grabbed anything. I got like a 9 or a 10, and that was it.
Nice.
But
what about you?
Yeah, for these covers, man, I had to look it up because there were a couple that stood out in my head. I was like, am I remembering them right? I think my favorite is the Batman Arkham City cover. It's like a kind of white and gray one. It's the cover of the game, but like the only red is like Batman wiping the blood off of his mouth. And then if you like open up the back page, you see like Catwoman in the background. That one was cool. This one I was recently reminded of because I was watching a YouTuber, Jay's reviews. I love his stuff. And he pointed out the Mega Man 11 Game Informer cover. This is for issue 297. And it was just every box art rendition, corny or not, because Mega Man has a horrible history of like Western box art releases, but they're all like lined up together with the Mega Man 11 Mega Man in the front. And I just thought it was a really cool piece that kind of, I guess, just celebrated the history of the franchise, the best parts of it, the ugly parts of it. Like you see Mega Man with a 6-pack, you see a more humanoid kind of Mega Man, you see him with a gun, like so many different versions of Mega Man that tried to, make it seem appealing. And I just appreciated that one a lot. When I saw that in his video, I was like, oh my God, this is such a good one. But I'm really bad with covers when I think about it. I think of like game box art. I could pick out my favorite game box art, but like magazine covers, I remember like the moments I turned the page and I would experience like a review that was like formative for me. Like that's when I found out about like the Ninja Turtle games, and I was like, oh shit. But otherwise, like covers, those two are the only ones that come to mind to me.
Yeah. No, I'm similar to you because not that the covers didn't stand out to me. I was more about the exclusive feature story, right? Where they do the breakdown of your most anticipated game, and you could tell they ask all these questions, and you're like, oh, the game's gonna have this, it's gonna do this. Yeah. That would excite me. I would just transfix on those feature stories so much. And as a Destiny fan, we know, like, bro, we're like, yo, they got to do a new subclass and this, whatever game you were interested in. They did a phenomenal job with their features and getting the exclusive that no other platform or publication would have. So salute to them, man. Pioneers in the game. They've always treated me well. I was like humble when that Game Informer account followed me a few years ago. I was like, oh wow, this is dope. A magazine that I grew up really paying attention to and following, and following my account was super humbling.
All right, Cog. Well, Game Informer is back, and we're back to play some games. Let's talk about what we're playing. You're up first, sir. Yeah, you have very, very big games here. I don't know how your schedule's going, sir, but you got a tough road ahead of you. Let's hear about it.
Bro, let's start off, man. So this game, I had no intention of covering or playing right now. And I looked at it and I'm just like, all right, I see the discourse. I'm seeing the reviews, and I was like, I don't need to be in this zeitgeist. I could chill. Man, I gotta call out AC Shadows, man. I mean, couple of reviews and people that like AC in the way I used to like AC made some comments. So basically, obviously, I played the preview version. Me and you played a preview version of this game, right? And it was okay. I didn't feel super strongly either way. That's kind of where I left it. I was just like, okay, this is solid. But I will say something. I want to get in trouble, but Ubisoft, I'm just going to say without spoiling, you didn't do yourself proper service, in my opinion, for people who were covering that. And I don't want to spill the beans on why. I will just say that when I played this, I'm like, oh, this is how it's supposed to look. Oh, okay. Like, and I'm just like, I would just hope you take that feedback, and I'll be willing to give the details because maybe I can't disclose that. But I will just say that, in my opinion, you guys didn't do the graphical service to this game.
Yeah.
Because when I'm like, oh my God, this is a beautiful looking. Oh my God. So, all right, let's get to it. So, the thing about it for me, forget all the noise, forget all that stuff. What got me was, all right, play Yasuke. Okay, I get it, right? Samurai. And I'm going to be brutally honest. From a Ghost of Tsushima standpoint, I just feel like your man Jin Sakai with the water stances and the things and the moveset, it's just, and then me and E Bosses had this discussion, right? When it comes to the samurai, y'all cool, but Ghost of Tsushima's here. Like, it's not even, that's how I feel. And then there's nothing more iconic than that cinematic Kurosawa feel, and you see the duel and facing the other, like, it is just cinema. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, all right, this is what y'all did, cool. And I do like the, Yasuka's, he's towering, he's brute, kicking people, flying, fun. Okay, cool. It's fun. I didn't expect to love Nawe the way I did. And for me, remember, now I got a unique perspective, Batty. I have not played a mainline Assassin's Creed. I don't count Mirage. What was that one they did? I don't count that. Okay. I have not played. I have betrayed Assassin. I'm like, I don't identify with you. I am old. Maybe Unity during a bet with Addict. That's how me and Addict became friends.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like the bet was, I'm playing Destiny, you're playing. He's like, Unity's better than that Destiny game. I'm like, well, at least play this, and we're gonna play each other's games and see who likes what. And we ended up both liking both games, and then we became
Unity is so fucking good, bro.
Oh,
love Unity.
Exactly.
Not revisionist history, by the way. Gotta be clear, because I know that game was busted at launch. My initial review was very positive of that game. I fucking love Unity. Sorry, continue.
Because the game itself wasn't whack. It was just the technical aspects. Those consoles at the time couldn't handle this ambitious.
So good. I mean,
bro,
I could go on. There's a reason people go back to that one. I mean, the level design, especially the co-op, the open-ended environments, the open world objectives, the story, the tracking of your target. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love that game so much. I glazed the fuck out of that game when it came out. I was so good. The worst bug I had when I was reviewing is I fell through the floor. I was like, whatever. Everything else was sick.
Game's amazing. And I think for me, again, for a guy who really has become disenchanted with Assassin's Creed, I just felt like, okay, I get it. I'm the old geezer now in the room. You guys are, hey, we like Cassandra, we like Odyssey, we like Valhalla, we like In Your Face Hog. Like, I get it. That's the more popular games, and I'm not saying they're bad games. It's just that for me, for COG, I'm like, that's not Assassin's Creed to me. That's something else, but y'all got the Assassin's Creed logo on it. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, and it's the most popular in the franchise. I get it. So I'm like, this is the first Assassin's Creed for me where I'm like, y'all back on it with pure stealth. Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, Ghost, I love you, but you are not seeing Nanaway, and you're not, when it comes to pure stealth mechanics, going into the room, cutting off the lights, doing the flips, like just the traversal from ascending to descending, pure ninjutsu. When you get the joint with the rope and all that, bro, they got, this is what I knew the game. Because when the AI is searching, remember, I've been removed from the series. When you've been detected, right, and it shows that silhouette of where the enemy's perspective of where they last saw you at, right? Then shout out to my man Subag. I'm gonna shout him out a couple times today on he's a launch of gaming now. Also, Rebel the Dukes. Nice. He was like, "Cog, I know you." He said, "Bro, put the difficulty up." The days of you being on the roof thinking it's sweet. Yeah. Oh no, these dudes can look up now.
Oh yeah.
You gotta be prone, right? It is so satisfying. The stuff. Now the only nitpick, I don't like that if I drop down on somebody just because they got a big health bar and I do the killing strike. Oh, they survived.
Like, you should turn on the one-shot assassination. That is the thing I instantly turn
immediately.
Yep. Yeah, all it took was
I was
one. I was like, fuck that.
I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, dudes just pulling the knife away. I was like, nah, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
I turned off. Y'all could criticize me, call me casual. So be that's Assassin's Creed to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned that setting right off. Other nitpick, I will say I do not necessarily look. I get it from the what they call it, the discovery waypoint system. I forgot what they call it.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, he's in the southwest corner of the Bronx. He might be underneath this province. And I'm like, all right, I'm searching. I'm spending so much time trying to search and send the scout and do all this. And I'm just like, kind of. And I get it. They probably got so much criticism from games like Elden Ring where it's more natural exploration. And there's going to be people who love that, right? For me, the game is so big, it's so huge. I'm just like, just give me the waypoint and I will, go do the quest that way. But I played about 10 to 12 hours and I was just in love with now. I didn't even get y'all's game back yet since the beginning. I'm like, this is fire. Like as a pure ninja in stealth, this is the best stealth. This is like Tenchu with a budget. I'm like, it is that, like the smoke bomb and doing the assassination creeping through. I'm really in love. I didn't think I knew I liked it because the minute I did it, I purchased Ubisoft Plus so I could put it on the Ally and all my devices. So because this game is big as I'm not finishing this game until
Ubisoft thanks you for your service.
Yo, Ubisoft you got a bag out of it because this game is. I didn't plan on pretty much liking it. I mean, I should say I didn't plan on investing this time.
You
because
didn't think it would be up your alley. That's
I was just like, it's okay. I'll get into it. But I'm like, nah, I like this game. So look, I'm still early. I'm like right before the act where something's about to go down seriously. But I do really want to shout them out for a person who loves stealth, loves those mechanics. I thought it was really and her fight. Look, I guess she's weaker, bro. When you get into that whole right trigger and you get into the stances and stuff like that, again, it just feels so good. And again, I'm coming from a perspective of a guy who has not played Assassin's Creed in years. So maybe this is a Call of Duty moment for the guys that play every year. Like, oh, Call of Duty's the same.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it is because this game isn't awful. Like that's the thing. A lot. I don't like it, but like it is not a bad game by any means. Like I think
you said that
people are kidding themselves in a lot of ways. Like there are aspects of it that I think are really bad. Like when I hear text to speech shit, I'm just like, bro, you guys can't be doing that. Like I don't care if you cherry pick the clip. Like that just cannot happen.
Wait, I missed the point. What did you say? What was the point? It can't happen. I missed
the text to speech, like where you can hear like a bot voice in the game. It's like I know these are big games. I know it's hard to sweep it all, but like that, if you're gonna do that, you gotta be careful because that is
for sure
bad. What did you think of the level design?
So far, I mean, I think my only nitpick with the level design is that I'm used to, how they got that Pathfinder system, and I think for me, my only issue is that I'm the guy that I won't listen to the path. I'll just beeline. You can't really beeline and like go up mountainous regions. They want you to stick to this path to get there. There may be a winding roads and going up mountains and going a longer way to get there. But I think that the design of that is purposely done for you to force to do it their way. Whereas other games, like if I'm playing, like for example, I'm playing, what y'all talking about, KCD. I could cut through the forest, the woods, the mountains, and I don't have to stick to the plan, so to speak.
Sure.
So I think that part is a little, let's say, it's just jarring because I'm playing from KCD too. So that part I'm like, I don't really care for that part. But I think the way these worlds and levels for the most part are designed are pretty cool. I feel the density is there. I feel like the
when you're stealthing, do you feel like you got a lot of options?
Stealthing is spectacular. That's what got me. I could not believe how fun it just using the grappling, even swinging from one point to a point, going to the highest point. Now, again, it almost feels like it's Nahway's game.
Oh yeah. I feel like there's a story there in the sense of like development story. I mean, of like they were going one way and then I'll be curious to get your thoughts. Since you're enjoying the gameplay, it's not like I'm expecting you to radically change your opinion, but I'm curious how you'll feel about the story. Cause I think when Masquerade gets included, that's when I started to veer off because I was kind of enjoying it when it was just Nahway because I was like, this feels like a good revenge story. Like I'm kind of into how they're setting it up. And then I'm curious how you'll feel when they try to split and how they do the missions after that.
How am I like,
like again, I don't think you're going to radically change and be like, yo, you're right, this sucks or something like that. But I'm curious how you'll take to that sort of thing. Because I think that's where the narrative goes off the rails. And it can happen pretty quickly if you're like me, where I hit some side stuff by like hour 7, I think is when I got Yasuke. And I was just like, and I think it just kind of declined from there. But since you like the core gameplay, is a good sign because it's not going to change much. So you get to enjoy that good stealth stuff for a long time.
And here's the thing: as a character, I didn't think I was going to like Naue, to be honest. Right?
Are you playing in Japanese or English?
Oh, I'm playing in English.
Okay.
I'm playing in English.
Go ahead.
English. So the thing about it is like again, I come from the kung fu movies, and like it has some tropes, but that are really cool. But where's the thing? What's they call the thing where those are side missions when you say it and you do the meditation, like curry something.
Oh yeah, you're pressing the face button.
You pressing the button, you doing a circle. Yeah. The thing about those is whole missions in themselves. I'm thinking it's just some mini game, and I'm gonna be done, and I'm gonna get a memory, and it'd be a straight quest line. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, this game is huge.
Yeah, it's like about her past and
but I'm getting the depth. And I was like, okay. And I'm starting again from the thing I like from the Nobunaga standpoint, and then obviously from the Iga clan, standpoint. And I'm seeing that. So my curiosity is I want to know now, like to your point, what was Yasuke doing during this periods of, the drama. Right. And then I kind of do like
the quest log. It says he's reflecting on a personal journey. It was really funny.
Because don't get me wrong. I like this beginning. I like because the thing that Nobunaga did, and this is not spoiling, this is out there, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like assess the situation. It's like, yo, your man right here is the smartest dude in the room as a warrior, and you don't even realize, and leave him here. And I did like that, but I got to see where his story goes because I've literally played 10 to 12 hours. I have not seen him again. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just been straight Naue. You know what I'm saying? To this act. So that's where I'm at with it. But so far, so good. I did not expect to like this game as much as I liked it. We'll see, how that continues as it goes on. But shout out to Shadows for making me pick you up in Ubisoft Plus because I didn't expect that. All right. So second now is let's get to our Henry stories. KCD2, man.
Yes.
All right, bro. It's heating up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my boy. Main quest line stuff. Mm-hmm. So things, man, 2 major things happened that really flipped the game on its head a bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? And the thing I liked was the decisions that I tried to do prior to major decisions that what I like is this game rewards me going off the beaten path, doing every little side quest, and then being thorough, because if you are thorough, you are rewarded. Minus Groshin, but
you just steal that. That's cheap. Fine. That's fine. You just
Groshin. Yeah, cheap as hell. I don't know what that's about, but whatever.
I just commit thievery, bro. It just makes my life way easier. I'm like, all right, I'll help myself. It's fine,
bro. This game has such an addictive quality with perk accumulation. And, I remember now I'm getting my scholarship skill up right now. Now I'm getting my outfits. I got my full noble outfit. I have my full stealth outfits. The thing about it now, though, with these major story beats and then what's going on with Hans is wild crazy right now. And I'm like, I am loving the main story. Now, nitpick, they have moments where they try to do these, I want to call them like scale battle kind of things. And aesthetically, it's hot, right? It's so many people on screen. It's this going on. But there are times where it gets clumsy with the waypoints. And I'm just like, it's a little, all right, I know I'm doing what I'm, like sometimes KCD has this thing. It's like, okay, I'm in the area. I'm doing I'm here where y'all telling me to be. What the hell am I supposed to be doing? And you're not sometimes clear with that. And sometimes that gets in the way of these amazing set pieces that they're trying to do. Sure. But I will say nothing, when they have what I like, very strong narrative beats, like they steal the show. They understand the weight of situations. Couple people were in some serious situations, and I had the fate of certain people was in my hands, and it was super dope how that went. Also, now I'm trying to talk in a non-spoiler way, so if I sound a little crazy, I'm trying not to spoil. Yeah. All I will say is that where I'm at now, the game is doing some major perspective changes.
Okay, I know where we're at. Yeah.
Okay, so we are in perspective mode. Don't know how I feel about it just yet, only because I want to see if they pay this off, because they're going to be, it reminds me of, now this is too extreme, but for people who are new to this series, it's going to feel like a Raiden moment.
Mm.
And I don't know how a casual may feel if perspectives change on you. And you've started to build this thing and resources and leveling, and now it's perspective change, right? So I got to see how they pull it off, the length of that and stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, the game's still engaging, engrossing. There's still nothing like it. I'm having so much fun. And the reason why it just takes so long, because I love all the side quests and all the effery you can do with it. So yeah, I'm invested. But yeah, KCD, and then it is a number game, but I cannot talk about it.
Same.
Yeah. And we will do that. But that's me. That's me. A lot of these 100-hour games that I'm trying to piecemeal.
Yeah, good luck to you. I mean, that is a full plate there. You'll be set for months.
That's why I subscribe to a lot of these services, so I can continue. Yeah. Everywhere I'm going to go, I can still play a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah,
they're going to be my projects for
that
the
is
year.
The way to go. Yeah, you chip through it wherever you can, and
yeah,
you'll be there once.
So what about you? What's going on? I see some names here.
Yeah, Adamfall up first. Reviewed that this past week. Pretty tight game, under 20 hours. Beat it and loved it. Really, really great foundation for a series here. Not perfect. There's a lot of jank, but it's got a lot of cool ideas. If you really like games that, for starters, like solid gameplay, like the gunplay is rock solid. It's survival focused, so every bullet counts. So it's kind of got a little bit of that survival horror feel of like there'll be moments you think you're full of ammo, and then like you'll go through an enemy base and you'll be out of resources, and there's no like real replenishing that in an easy way. So you're always making choices on a gameplay level that create some good intensity. So the foundation there is good, but if you really care about narratives that kind of give you the agency of how you want to approach them, and there's no right or wrong way, this is a great game for you. There is an option if you don't want to mess around with that. They literally have a waypoint system. Like they're like, you can turn it on. Like it's a difficulty option. So if you just want, like, I click this quest, this is where I go. You can do that. I think it robs you of something special, though. I really do. It is very nice to just have that wandering experience without the waypoints, because you'll look at things in the distance. Very Bethesda game studios like it. You'll see something in the distance and be like, what's going on here? One thing Bethesda does is they reward you narratively and loot wise, but in particular, Bethesda narratives in those segmented locations is usually like a self-contained story. But basically everything you find adds to your leads. The leads in this game are your quests, effectively. And so you'll like read a note and it'll inform you like someone dropped off these supplies in this helicopter in these coordinates. And, the game will be like, okay, you can track this lead. And then it'll tell you like at like 90.3 north and 27 east, you'll find whatever you're looking for. And so you'll kind of like track it down through the coordinates, navigating this dangerous world. And you'll go there and you'll find what you're looking for. And it is just that extra step in a good way where, because the maps are very small and dense, the exploration feels very meaningful. And dude, I got distracted so many times playing this game. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, like I would just be wandering. I'm like, whoa, what's that bunker over there?
What's that?
Let me check that out. So just like really good. It's arguably, outside of Obsidian, I'd say Rebellion has done the best emulation of the Bethesda wandering experience and understanding what organic things about it make it click, seeing things in the distance, worthwhile things to find when you're there. Just a really great world that's kind of keeping it all bolted down. So if you like the fiction, you're going to probably want to check this out anyway. This is set in the 1960s. You've woken up in this quarantine zone in North England. It's after the Windscale plant incident, I believe is what it's called. Basically, it was a nuclear disaster, a real nuclear disaster that happened, but it's like an alternate history take on that. So within this zone, you're trying to figure out, like, why are you here? Why are the walls up? No one knows on the outside what's going on the inside. It's like a lawless land here. A lot of overgrowth, lots of things have been rusting here for years. And like I said, you're just trying to get to the bottom of it and get out. Like that is your kind of elevator pitch on the game, and just, navigating the world, finding new weapons. Like it's an exciting moment to find like a pristine M1911 and be like, oh my God, it's a clean gun. Holy crap. The survival elements in the game are very light. They're not going to like hold you back. Like you got to drink, you got to eat, like none of that. Again, there are survival difficulties. So if you don't even want to mess with like what little survival elements are here, you don't have to. Typically in the form of like status effects, like you're poisoned or you have an illness, those sorts of things. If you don't want to mess with that, you can turn that off too. Again, I think you turn these things off, you rob yourself of what makes the experience so great. But this is a Game Pass game, and I recommend it thoroughly. Like it is a really strong game from a team that's known for a sort of comfort food series where as someone who beat it, I'm like, oh, there's a future. I was like, y'all better stick with this. They're doing DLC for it, which I'll be there for. And they said that they are interested in a sequel, but they want to obviously wait to see how it does. But I hope people go and check this one out and support it. I was really encouraged to see how good the viewership numbers on my Adamfall review were. I wasn't expecting much because I'm like, it's a AA game. I know I have a Fallout-centric audience, and this game does have some Fallout sensibilities, but when I covered it in the preview, no one seemed interested. So I was like, all right, like, it's fine. I'll still cover it anyway. But I was very happy to see there was interest. And since I liked it a lot, I hope a lot of people do check it out because I think it is a really, really good time. And especially if you like narrative discovery. And again, I need to emphasize like under 20 hours, man. Like,
no, that's great.
I can't lie. That does help. Like it does help. It's not like, oh, thank you. I can move on to the next thing. It's just like, because it was a tighter experience. Now, like every minute I spent in that world felt so purposeful. I didn't know it was going to be that short when I jumped in. I jumped in because we talked about it the week before. I got my code and we read the story. They were like 25-ish hours, but there's more if you want to do more. I got 2 of the different endings. Like I reloaded. I did a different ending. And I did it in under 20 hours. So like I was expecting to be there longer, but I felt fulfilled by the time it was done.
By the time it was.
You know?
Let me ask you this, because one of the things, obviously, we had played this game way early, right? And one of our concerns, right, was that AI and stuff like that. So like, how did a lot of those gaps get bridged? Did they really, polish it? I mean, it seems so, right? But I'm just curious because we remember we had both of us had concerns about this
100%.
game.
When we saw the release date, I was like, there's no way it's ready. In a lot of ways, you and I were right. Like combat AI is still a problem. There's like enemies who will like walk at you and get stuck on walls, not know how to get to you. They'll stop attacking you. Everyone's favorite word, jank. Like there is a decent amount of jank here.
Okay.
Not to the level of being unpolished, right?
Okay.
Like not to the level of like, oh, the game's breaking on me. The game never crashed on me. I never had a quest bug. To me, that goes beyond jank and into broken. Right. Jank is like just a little rough around the edges where like enemies aren't like hopping over walls, sprinting at me. Like, combat's still intense because you do so much damage. Like, I don't care what gun or whatever weapon you have. If you shoot them in the head, that's it.
That's it.
But that means that they can just pop you real quick. So,
got you.
Sometimes the broken AI works in your favor, I'll say.
So basically, what we consider like a once in a while anomaly. Like, for example, I play KCD. And there'd be a major, I was in like this banquet hall or whatever. And like, there's a dude walking on top of the table while people were eating. And I was like, so do we have like a weird anomaly here and there?
Interestingly, I don't think it's really that. You don't have like moments where NPCs are out of place or something like that. Actually, there was one time I stepped out of a church and these 2 guards had spawned on top of each other. And that was a consistent thing where they were just like in each other, literally. And like they were just like Z fighting a ton and flickering. I was like, all right, it's that was an anomaly for sure. But the thing that's not an anomaly is the combat AI breaking. Like it is frequent enough where like it doesn't pull you fully out of it, but there are occasional encounters where you're like, that could have been a little more difficult. I feel like the game bailed me out there. And it's a great feeling at the end of the day. Sometimes the AI can spot you from really deep. Sometimes they don't spot you at all. So it is the one thing in the game I wished was a little tuned up, but really the reality is I struggle to think of a lot of things I would have changed with this one. That's why I gave it such a glowing review. Is like I was like, I don't know what I would have done differently outside of like, tightening up things on a technical front a little bit more, but the gunplay is good. The story is good. The world is good. Like, everything here is really good, and it's a strong game. So, I don't know if it'll be in like my top 5 of the year because I don't think it was that strong, but I think I could see this cracking my top 10 for sure. Like it was a really good game. I was so happy with how
Interesting.
it turned out because obviously for me and my sensibilities, I really wanted to like this. I was like,
Yeah.
when we walked away, like when we walked into that Gamescom LA event, I was like, this is gonna be the game, no doubt. I walk away from like, oh, of course, Maddie likes it.
Yeah, of course, man.
When I played it, I was like, oh my God, like this is, I know we only got a half or like an hour with it or something like that, but I was like, oh my God, this is really bad. I was like, this is not feeling good in any way. I was almost surprised they brought it there. Not to be disrespectful, but I was really surprised. I was like, this feels like you're setting yourself up for failure because you had someone like me who loves like Fallout shit coming out and going like, that was the worst thing I played there, you know? But turned out really, really good. So I hope people check it out, you know, especially if you like Bethesda Game Studios games. I don't think they lean on all of their sensibilities, but you'll notice a familiarity. Like the facial animations aren't perfect. The conversations are in world. Like when you talk to someone, the world around you is still active. It's dialogue selection, you know, scroll box, you know, when you pick your dialogue selections, it'll tell you like the emotion for it. It's not like an icon. So you're guessing like certain games. It's like like prying, confused, angry, those sorts of things.
Okay.
So it gives you a little more information on like what you're about to say. And also that agency, it's not just like, oh, discovering the narrative, but bro, like you can complete quests in so many ways. I was very, very happy about that too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
And this is a game, like I know some of y'all out there are psychopaths. You can just shoot anyone in this game. Like if you just don't care, you can kill literally everyone in this game. And I think it's awesome. So
nice.
Really good agency, really good experience. I was very happy with it. Check it out. Game Pass. Other game I was playing, another surprise, another very pleasant surprise was Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I talked about this. I apologize for some time listeners. We're doubling up here, but Bleach is a game that I was going in cautiously because, you know, as the anime games connoisseur at LSM, you know, I play all of these and most times they're fucking mid, dude. Like, I'm not going to lie. They're just not. They take advantage of the fact that we're anime fans and we're just going to take whatever we can get. They're like, yeah, you'll eat my meal prep for the week.
Meal prep and like it.
Yeah, they'll be like, here's your ground turkey with olives. Have fun.
Here's the cream corn.
Now I know it's sticking with you.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was a struggle meal for sure. You know, that's what we're getting though as anime fans. We're getting the struggle meals. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. And I fired up and I got to say pleasantly surprised. Music really good. Presentation quality really good. You know, the menus, the visuals on the menus, the presentation of the characters and how they are in the character select screen, very much a vibe. They go really above and beyond in parts of the story with their cutscenes and how they like fill in the gaps of parts that they plan to skip in the terms of gameplay. It's very thorough. So you're covering like the show outside of, I think it's called like the 1,000 Blood Year War or something. I apologize, everyone. I'm new to Bleach, but there is a new arc that recently happened and that is not in the game right now, but they thoroughly cover pretty much everything that's there. And so, yeah, between that and the combat, like the combat's really solid, dude. Like most of these 3D anime fighters, I'm like, oh God, here we go again. They want to be Ultimate Ninja Storm, but this game has basically a system where you have your health bars, but it's not just like a Tekken where you're just like, who empties it out first? It's like everyone has like 10 health bars. And by getting them to a certain point, you could set up landing a particular move on them called the Keycon move. If you land that, depending on what type of character you are and what type of character they are, you might wipe out like 4 health bars with that move, right?
Damn.
And so like it's a game of like back and forth and tactics and counters and whatnot. And like, you'll have like 6 health bars and they'll have 8 and then they'll knock you down to 3 and you'll knock them down to like 4. But because you're playing as a strong character, you can knock them out of the fight where they still got to get you 2 more times. So even though they thought they were ahead of the game, like the fights are like more intense than I expected. Definitely a breath of fresh air though, because again, so many anime games are like, we got to do Ultimate Ninja Storm. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like Ultimate Ninja Storm is special. It's awesome. We don't need to do this every single time. And this game says like, hey, you can have some of that production quality for Ninja Storm while doing a totally different set of systems that made it way more fun to play. And it passed what I call the online sniff test, right? Normally you play these games in single player, you do their story modes and you're like, okay, that was fun, but like, let's see how this holds up when I play another human. And right away the cracks are exposed. This game though, when we went online, my friend and I were playing, I'm like, wow, I was like, this is holding up. Like, dude, we're having some great fights. it's about who's using the tactics of the game to their advantage, and it's not really like, oh, you picked a busted character, bro. Like it is,
Don't be, bro.
yeah, it's like more, I'm sure it's an anime fighting game, so there's definitely a level of tiers for characters. Like there are certain characters I played that I was like, you aren't very good, but overall, like each character has a signature move that kind of gives them like a different edge in battle. And when we went online, we were like, this is holding up really well. Like we're having some really close fights. So that was awesome, man. Like it was a really good surprise there. So this is a game that, would have been more convenient for my schedule if I was like, yeah, sorry, everyone. It's more anime slop and you're going to want to skip this one. Like JJK Curse Clash. I was like, I'm not looking back. Goodbye. But this is good. And so I will be hanging with it. And it is a very chunky game. So,
okay.
Yeah, another great one here.
Nice. Salute to you, man. I just wanted to add two little random KCD two thoughts before I forget. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
One nitpick I do want to say. Well, first the good and then the bad. The good part is I've unlocked in the skill tree a thing where you read skill books, and now when I deal with certain character decisions, I'm getting the difficulty of the choices. Like this game is rewarding me for reading books. And it is telling me like, yo, if you pick that's a hard skill check choice that you're about to do. It'll list all. I was like, oh, this is dope. Like the game is opening up even more with the perk stuff. Now, the negative thing that I forgot to mention was that there were sections of the game, the two parts of the game I do not like. I still cannot stand lock picking on a controller. It is awful.
It's awful.
It is awful. It is very it's unfair to a console controller person. Like it is just this. It's clumsy. And there are parts of the game where it's like, okay, no, you got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous. And then they like, oh, we ain't only give you like one or two lock picks. Go ahead. So now I'm scum saving. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then it was this other part. Now I will say the one that they forced me that I have to admit, and I was like, all right, I didn't like the sound, the idea of this, but this was actually dope. Was actually pickpocketing. Once I learned how to do that.
Pickpocketing in that game.
Yes, because it's like, all right, we're gonna sneak behind you. We're gonna build this meter up.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna give me
how long do I got?
How long do I get to scheme on your back pocket? That sounds pause, but hey, that's what the game told me to do. It said hold the button while you behind something and raise the meter. So I'm like, all right, 20 seconds. All right, cool. Then when you get in, it's like a door system. All right, what's in that part of the pocket? The key ain't there. All right, cool. Next. And you got it's like a Mission Impossible. It's like dun, 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 and the time's going out, and then you got to escape with the item out the door.
Yeah.
That part. Once I got it down, I'm like, all right, KCD.
Yeah.
I bitched and complained, but that lock picking, no, KCD. I do not like you.
First game, yes.
Right, and I've already mastered. I told you the pro tip: poison your weapons.
Yeah.
Boy, you get that doll maker or that Bane, and I just hit them up and just watch. Yo, it is so funny. Like I am a savage. I'm poisoned. I've got all types of stuff, and my alchemy is crazy. So I just wanted to put those last little things in. I am mastering the thievery and the sultry side of the game, and I'm getting a little better with that. But lock picking, we still ain't with you.
I agree. I agree with the lock picking, but I love that you are poisoning everyone to death at KCD too.
Great, bro. I'm in mid battles. I'm watching. I'm a savage.
Just drop on the floor.
Drop.
Yep.
And Master Strike, game over. Yeah, it's over with. But yeah, I'm having fun. This story is really heating up, though. It's a lot of intrigue, a lot of political posturing. It's getting crazy.
All right, Kai, we have one additional write-in here that I wanted to cover before the news. It comes from Nevitz. Pretty fun little short window conversation we can have because next week is the Switch 2 Direct. And Nevitz has the golden question. Hey, Duke dudes. Surprised we actually didn't get this more than just him. What Xbox games will be announced at the Switch 2 reveal event next week? Have a someone mixed green and my red. Kind of.
Yeah, mixing up the shake on you. That's a good one. It's a good one, right? Because we expect some form of Xbox presence, right?
I expect Phil there. There's a little t-shirt and sports jacket combo. Pair of jeans, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Master Chief Collection immediately comes to mind. I feel like that's right. That's gotta almost gotta be a guarantee, no?
I mean, it feels like Halo should be, right? I mean, with the timing of the Forza stuff, you would think, maybe the Halo, Halo Studios now has something ready to go, some form of Halo, whether remake, the Master Chief Collection or whatever. I want to think more immediate because I know that we also was talking about what potentially the Oblivion thing could happen, right? That was kind of thrown around in the air, maybe potentially that kind of thing. But then again, we got to see. We got to restate. Another thing it depends on the release of the Switch, but let's say the Switch is May, June-ish, right? They do the announcement. I mean, Doom, the Dark Ages is close. And we do have history because Dooms have been ported to Switch.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was like
what I'm saying? Yeah. Sorcery has happened.
Not only the sorcery, but that was like a big deal at the time because Nintendo was so anti M-rated, it felt like, that it was like, oh my God, an M-rated shooter on the Switch. I can't believe it.
So, that's a big one. Was thinking about it because I was like, that in conjunction with the fact that this Doom doesn't even have a multiplayer component, right? Could be an easier thing. And they've been known to scale down very well, id. So I'm going to shoot that out there. I'm going to say.
I like your guess. That's a good one. Ooh. Do we get the Gears of War announcement? Because I feel like Gears Collection and Halo Collection, that's a fucking double whammy, bro. Like that is, I don't know if you need to bring anything else out there. I
know. And then somebody had a tweet recently the other day or something was like how like the rollout's going to go in terms of like, was it first party Switch stuff, third party Switch stuff? I mean, it will.
Oh yeah, that was Tom Henderson. He had the report.
Yes.
That was like more holiday window, I think, for third party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll double check that, but continue.
No, it's just one of those things. I'm just curious about the rollout with the launch window and on launch title games. And one of the three we feel got to beat it. You know what I'm saying? From the Gears, the Halo, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. I still struggle with Forza only because of the fact that Forza, I just feel it's so online heavy. And based on histories with that console, I feel that would be a later port. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. That's just me. But yeah, I think you're not too off to think that potentially a Gears could be there in some form.
They say here, according to various sources, this is Insider Gaming, the Nintendo Switch 2 will launch its games in a 3-phase strategy, starting primarily with first-party launch games. According to sources, the second stage will arrive in October, November for third-party studios, most of which are expecting the dev kits for the Switch 2 to be sent in June.
Oh, wow.
So my thought process is they're trying to keep leaks low, and this is finally, it said the third phase for games will be in the holiday period.
Interesting.
So if you're Xbox, seems like a good time to punch it with some ports. And maybe some re-releases. Starfield.
Yeah, that's another one.
I'll swing big on that one.
Let's go.
Original Switch had Witcher 3. I'll shoot for Starfield on Nintendo Switch 2. I feel like that's the thing Bethesda has to be. That and I don't know what else they have to be waiting for, but they said they have announcements up their sleeve, and I feel like the shot in the arm is the PS5 port and the Switch 2 port for Starfield to reinvigorate that base and be like, here's some updates, here's some things happening on the side, here's the next expansion. I don't know if this all happens on Nintendo stage, by the way, but I feel like that is a pretty strong layout for them, so I would throw them on the list. I'm gonna throw Hellblade 2 there as well.
Wow, I didn't think about the Hellblade.
I think they hustled that one. I get the vibe that will do well on other platforms, especially now it's out of like the pressure window of like
that
where it was first released, and that was just post multi-platform Switch. A lot of conversation around the Xbox business at that time. Now it's out of that, and we know what Xbox is, and 5 hours, what, and all that's kind of gone. It's just the game now, right? No shock and awe is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like that because Hellblade definitely need that based on the sales that we predict in the sense that did not happen, right? So I like that choice. That would be kind of nice.
Yeah, I just the thing with Hellblade is I always thought that'd be a state of play because you got original PlayStation exclusive. They'd be like, see, we're here to help everyone out. So I'm just so curious because I feel like the reason I pick so many games for this question is in my head, and I might be wrong, but Xbox, I feel like they're just making statements right now. Like you and I have done this show together for years, but I feel like this is the most busy we've been with, like,
Yes.
there's a game here, there's an event there, there's just always something they're doing. Like, we talk every week about there's Muse, there's Copilot for gaming, here's new hardware. Some of them are leaked, to be fair. Here's a shadow drop, here's a developer direct, here's 15 games in April. Like, you know, I kind of talked about it a bit on a video of sort of like this tidal wave approach to kind of just subdue any reaction that could even occur, because it's just like a tsunami
So much,
is happening and there's no room to react. So you can't even coordinate an effort to be like, we don't like this, like we did with Redfall, right?
Yeah.
This is the only thing. It was just out in broad daylight. You know, it was just stranded. So yeah, I feel like the Switch Direct the Switch 2 Direct, I should say, is a really great place for them to just like fucking tear it up and just be like, okay, like here we're full multi-plat. Like, this is the biggest commitment they can make outside of like the Twitter announcements. Like, we're going to PS5 with Forza, and like it's selling clearly, but to be out there on like the Switch 2 stage and go like, yo, here are games coming to the Switch.
No, I'm with you. I think your strategy is sound because, again, with that approach, that Nintendo base is so valuable. They are legit selling consoles and software, and like they are really thriving the generation. So you want you want this new strategy to be clearly defined on this platform, this audience that ain't used to you, right? The key with this whole thing to me is what's actually ready timeline wise and studio capability of who can port. And then the X factor of the rule that we got to be respectful is Nintendo. Like, have they given out the dev kits in time? Are they the cause of this because they want to be super secretive? Let's be real, right? And not give things out just yet. So maybe they're holding up the thing, and the only, spoil in our plan is the fact that Nintendo hasn't done what they're supposed to do just yet, but Xbox is at the ready. Like, bro, what's up? Kind of thing. So it's going to be very key.
It could be a Square Enix thing, like a verbal commitment too.
Yes. It could be a lot of verbal commitment. And then now we are actually waiting for the implementation energy to happen because it's on them right now. Because in defense of them, they just now revealed, the console, but there's still a rollout that they necessarily want to do. And obviously people are groaning because they're like, we're going to do a direct, but no Switch 2 stuff tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So just like they're really milking that final last Nintendo Switch basic energy kind of thing. And it's kind of fun. Now, I'm curious, though, what happens tomorrow, though, if something still sneaks out from the Xbox side? Because they haven't been exempt because we did get grounded over there. What was it? Pentiment.
Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush was announced for them yet? Oh, yeah. No, not yet.
Oh, man.
I feel like Hi-Fi Rush not over there.
I don't know why they were selected with this. There's so much.
I don't remember now. I also lose track of the four, which ones made it, which ones missed it. There's still some weirdness with Switch on that one.
Yeah, no, it's not there yet.
Still not there. So it's PS4, PS5 is Hi-Fi Rush, but not Switch.
Well, sorry, the report was it'll launch on Switch too.
Got it. Okay. So
there's another one to add to the list.
It's still right. It's so many, bro. So it's just like tomorrow's gonna be interesting. There's a ton. It just comes out. I think Nintendo's in control of the situation. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. And we'll see
I'm not kidding myself that Xbox is called the shots here, right? Yeah. Like especially with Nintendo. They're at their mercy, but I think if Xbox is given the opportunity to take like a minute or two and just like really just be like, we are bringing these Xbox collections to you, or I always wonder about some form of Game Pass still to this day. Like I just always think about that, but like part of the Switch Online program or something like that.
Like a tier.
That
would be.
I think of EA Play into Game Pass, and then I think of this new standard tier that Xbox has where these are like the locked in games kind of. I think about it sometimes.
It would have to be a curated list. I mean, how the economics of it would work. I mean, that would be game changing. Wow.
Yeah.
Any form of Game Pass on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big dream. Like you got big hope, but I feel like if you can get Game Pass onto another gaming device that's not like PC oriented, that is a huge win, right? Because if Xbox can maneuver that deal somehow with Nintendo, which again, I think everyone will make the same point, which is fair, is like, how do you make this argument to Nintendo without saying like, well, we're going to cut some of your revenue out? Like,
right.
So I'm not kidding myself, but if they could figure a way out to do that, the biggest win they have of that is like the pressure goes on PlayStation. It's like, you're standing alone, my friend. Like, So, but I don't expect that. That's like a 10% chance, you know.
Yeah, I get you.
But still, very exciting times just to be kind of speculating about this sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, we do have another screen that we know Xbox is going to be going to. Let's get into the news of the week, the big boys, if you will. If it wasn't obvious already, Xbox is turning full PC box come the next generation. For starters, Jez Corden of Windows Central had the following to report, quote, Microsoft is working hard to integrate Xbox and Windows game development more closely into the future. Windows Central understands that traditional Win32 will be the preferred development environment for the next mainline Xbox consoles, with Xbox One, Series X and S era environment gradually phased out. Where that leaves our existing library of Xbox era games remains to be seen, but it seems emulation is one avenue Microsoft is exploring for back compatibility and game preservation. Will that allow those games to run on Windows devices like Keenan, as well as the ROG Ally or any average gaming PC, though? It's hard to say because there are some legal hurdles contractually about what exactly Microsoft is allowed to do with third-party titles in its store. Separately, Tom Warren of The Verge picked up a small leak on Xbox's own marketing. With the UI mockup for the Xbox app on PC, there was a Steam tab listed. Here's what Tom had to say. Quote, sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tell me that the company is currently working on an Xbox app update that will show every game you have installed on your PC. That includes games from Steam and the Epic Game Store, and I still understand Microsoft will label these games accordingly. I'm told Microsoft is still in the early stages of this Xbox app update, so the company might never ship the feature to list all your Steam games, but this mocked up image shows how they might show up eventually. We have a write-in here from Matt. He says, first-time writer for your show, long-time subscriber of LSM. I don't have an Xbox. I want to say I really enjoy listening to you guys, and you two have great chemistry. Thank you, Matt.
Salute, Matt.
Fellow Matt. And of course, you got the great write-in. Look at that name.
That name's sparkling.
Love it. I saw that the recent screenshot of the Xbox Steam tab on Xbox, while it is purely a theory, I have to admit, as a hardcore PlayStation fan and owner since PS1, if Steam came to Xbox, I'd buy one instantly. The prospect of owning and gaming on a PC has always been tempting. Indeed, I have a Steam Deck and love it, but I work all day at my desk and do not want to game at it. A powerful PC console would be the dream final piece in the cog. There we go. A little shout out to both of us.
Bars, this boy spin.
I'm keen to hear your opinions on this and whether it's a realistic prospect. Or would Steam want to get the prize first and make their own powerful console? Matt from beautiful county of North Yorkshire, England. Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for writing in. Old chap. So, Cog, what do you make of what we got here? PC box. Seemingly real. I'd be so shocked if they couldn't pull off this Steam storefront thing. But what we have here is a console kind of turning into a PC. Obviously, Jez kind of hinting at threatening, although not confirmed, threatening the backward compatibility library a little bit. Now, I'm at the point where I'm like so convinced this would be a platform killing decision that I'm like, Xbox will figure this out, hell or high water. But in this current window where we are like, what are they going to do with these games that we already own? Is this where AI steps in with emulation and back compatibility like they were talking about? So I'm just curious, Cog, where you are at with all I have just read.
Yeah, no, this is a lot. This is big. This is the hottest thing that's moving right now on socials. Everyone has a thought on this. And this, we added this
a game changer indeed.
Oh, bro, it is crazy. I've seen all the major people talk about this. Look, start with the first part, which is the Win32 aspect, you know, a development and kind of mimicking a PC. It's kind of what we're seeing now when you play it on a ROG Ally and all these devices. And what we're starting to see is that this already exists in some form. If you play, like right now, I've been playing KCD exclusively on my ROG Ally connected to my TV. And when you use Game Bar recognizes KCD as a Steam game in Xbox Game Bar. So it's recognizing a Steam game outside of the Xbox Game Pass app, outside of, you know, the Xbox app. It is recognizing and launching from it. So this already theoretically is in existence on a small level, right? So the case comes down to the big, you know, hoopla, right? Yeah. You know, we saw the... Yeah, like, bro, it was hoopla with this damn mock-up. Everybody saw that mock-up and say, yo, bro, what's that? What's the Steam category? What's going on, right? And then it promptly gets taken down, right? So it's two schools of thought. So one is like, oh, it's a mistake. But I'm going to tend to differ. I'm going to say, no, this is something they probably just weren't ready to show just yet. And it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
It's too early. Let's take that off, kind of thing. But we do know a form of it exists now. The key comes down to what the Xbox executives have been talking about from, we're going to make, and remember the talk was, we're invested in next generation hardware. Mm-hmm. Our next generation hardware is going to be the most powerful leap, blah, blah, blah. Mm. But we're going to have a differentiator. That was the verbiage, kind of like something that's going to make it, because we were all saying like, yo, if your games are everywhere, what's really differentiating you and making us want to get you as a platform? That was literally my question. Mm. And I was like, that's going to be the tough sell. Because right now, we were like, hardware sales are doing this. Yeah, you're going to sell money now, but we're all worried about the next gen Xbox. When you come up, well, what makes you special that we care about? Oh, this makes you special.
Yeah.
This, if your distinction is you are technically a PC in console form that holds multiple storefronts. But here's the key. Currently, this has not existed because when you look at a ROG Ally, you pick it up, it's the PC version of Game Pass, right? The PC version of Xbox. We want that console version of Xbox, right? Where you have console Game Pass. But if they pull that off with the Steam app, with the Epic Game Store app, Ubisoft and all these things, you have now changed the game. Because theoretically now, this is where the big debate is. If I open that Steam app and I have the license to all my Steam games, half of those games are PlayStation games as well. Well, half is a big number, but a good portion.
Like a part of your library is PlayStation. Yeah.
Right. Ghost of Tsushima, Director's Cut. I'm playing on Steam. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man, Miles Morales, God of War. In a world where the next generation Xbox is theoretically a PC, you now have all the games, so to speak, in a way, minus Nintendo. That's appealing. Now, I see what that's kind of like, okay, we're in the one box to rule them all kind of energy. Now, granted, they won't be day and date because we know PlayStation still is not on some day and date energy. Yeah. And there's
how long can PlayStation stall that out for is another
that's big the question, part of the question. Right? And I'm sitting back with my popcorn because I'm curious. Like we are in uncharted territory. I do not know the answer to this. Now, theoretically, one would think it's a PC. Steam's on there. They're the platform holder. PlayStation, if you own the license, theoretically, it should be there. Now, other people like COG, but PlayStation, has in the past blocked the streaming of PlayStation games on, was it GeForce Now, whatever, one of those Xbox services. So there's precedent that they've blocked it, but can you do it? So I saw Tom Warren chime in on Jez because Jez was kind of saying, hey, I think, PlayStation, he put up a poll. He was kind of like, what do you think would happen? He thinks PlayStation would absolutely block this. Mm. Tom Warren jumped in and was like, not so fast. And then our very own Hogue Law from LSM chimed in and was like, look, I think it would be a very uphill battle and a battle that PlayStation would not win if they attempted based on how the structure of the platform is. So this is a hot button. I'm just sitting back with my platform, but I will say this. If this is the case, depending on the price point, because we could still, if they do this, but it's a $700 device, and now it's like, okay, we're doing something unique and niche, but we ain't trying to lose no money on every console sold, right? Then it's like, okay, for the hardcore, we love it, yes. But if you're trying to get back in the game and you subsidize it, a la Maddie with this Asus Xbox branded device that is in that pocket of the 500, if they could subsidize, which shows the competitive nature, that's going to be interesting. My only caveats with this is I do feel if they go the subsidized route to make this a competitive $500 console kind of energy, that does threaten PlayStation. That does make there's a part of me that's like, can PlayStation idly sit back and say, yeah, we're okay with that? Well, maybe they do. But like, hey, you're giving us our games anyway. You're no longer a competitor anyway. We've been playing nice anyway. It is, I don't know where things are.
It really depends on how much of a threat Xbox or PlayStation views Xbox at the end of the day,
Correct.
right? Like,
Correct.
because my editor Dan threw an interesting idea my way. I'm curious what you thought, because I never considered it. I'm like, what if PlayStation just pulled out and made their own launcher? They were like, okay, we'll pull out of Steam. Like, we don't care. Our games have pull. We're gonna join the launcher race. Like, we're gonna make our own PlayStation games launcher, and this is where you play PlayStation games on PC. I don't think it would go well. I'm not saying it like it's a good idea, but I always think back to crossplay. I always think back to that moment with crossplay and PlayStation and Fortnite, and they were like the very last one to give in. They did not want to give in at all. They finally did, and as they see, it didn't hurt them at all. But you have Hiroki Toki on one end, like pushing for PC and PC sales. But at the same time, Xbox is like, oh, good. Put them there.
Put them there.
Put them there. Go right ahead.
Go right ahead. Yeah. We love it.
So, I mean, it's an interesting conversation.
This is a great conversation. Because again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible to understand all dynamics. We do know, and I would love to pick Colin's brain on this too, because from the PlayStation standpoint, we look at from a top level, right? You know, we know they're coming from the live service debacle. They're coming from the shifting and now getting the resources the right way. Hiroki has been on record. We look at PC as the growth spurt for us. We are going to be doing this. Like they are no longer hiding this to their audience, right? And here's the thing: we have to admit the PC platform and Steam. That is the country. They don't play these games. We're the de facto guys here. Steam is the winner, right? So they're like, if you think PC, you think us. If you want to make money, you think us. So there's a part of me, what's that expression? What is it? To spite your nose, to break your face? Well, you know that expression. I'm bad with expressions. But like, do you pull off your games from the number one platform in PC? PC gamers are so bougie, they will not go open another launcher. Like, let's be honest, like Game Pass exists. Some PC games are like, okay, yes, cool, we'll wait for the Steam version and buy it.
Yeah, I mean, guilty as charged. I don't do PC
because we love the Steam ecosystem so much. It's so perfect.
Yeah,
it's everything offline, it's cheap. Everything is perfect. We don't even care about your ego. Go ahead, make your launcher, and then we have evidence with Helldivers. When they pulled that, oh, hey guys, remember we kind of told you that, you know, you're going to need a PSN account eventually. We know we let you rock. Did you see the backlash? Did you see the sales drop? And it was hell and to pay when countries couldn't access it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I don't think PlayStation wants that smoke. I'm just going to be real.
I don't think it's good for their business, man. It's not even about Xbox at this point. I just think for them, they lose so much money by pulling out of Steam.
Yeah, to me, this is not even an Xbox issue. This is Steam is the de facto revenue source for both of these guys right now. The console, let's be honest, PC Master Race, this is your time, right? You guys have won the war. Xbox is putting their games over there. PlayStation putting their games over there. And that fact, the only person that's hanging out is Nintendo because they beat to their own drum. We don't got to listen to nobody. Yeah. We still the kids, the kids' choice. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But I don't know if PlayStation could play that game with Steam. I'm just going to be honest. That's what my gut feels. But I will give PlayStation this. I am concerned if Xbox aggressively comes in at a subsidized next generation price where they are not only the most powerful console, but they also do this new thing where they are this metamorphosis. They are the one-stop shop. And that is let's be honest, that is a console casual guy's dream. All they want to do is just put the game in, boot up, and play. That's it. And you telling me I can play Halo, this, all the Xbox, and I can play God. That is an interesting proposition.
Look, there's no fanboyness in that one. I don't think. It's just the reality of like good business. And I will admit I fought the uphill battle with Xbox's hardware, but when you see that where it's like, oh, I can have one device to rule them all, as you put it brilliantly, it's like, why the fuck wouldn't I, dude? Like like, I just don't see a real drawback in the idea if you are the player, because some people, like, we have a write in here from Dexterous Joe. It says, my fellow Dukes, while I would be thrilled to have an all-in-one console that can play everything from any launcher, I fail to see how this would be beneficial for Xbox after the initial purchase. Online discussions to me are missing the key ingredient. How does this make revenue for Xbox? And I am even bullish on that thought that Epic would be more suited on console before Steam, given how far behind they are on PC. They would be more willing to bend the knee to Xbox and split revenue than Steam. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Keep up the great work. And I go to monthly active users. That's what I think. If like people are just like, Xbox uses that stat all the time, just people on their Xbox. And if you can kind of pull in and peel those Steam numbers, Steam gets their money. I don't know if they work out a cut, but I don't know. I feel like this is more about just getting people to engage with the platform and having something. The thing where we were kind of, the special sauce we were really missing in the start of this generation was like, what's the defining factor between all of these consoles? Like Nintendo was doing something different, but PlayStation and Xbox, it was like, what's your software? Because that's the only thing that defined it. When Xbox is lacking exclusives, we know how it went. It was like, okay, this is an easy choice because someone's offering me something unique. So it's just the proposition, the business proposition to the consumer of like, you just get to access all your games here.
Right.
I think that just sells. It reminds me a little bit of like the PSP. It's like, you know, you had the PSP library, but people were like cracking that thing and putting tons of games on it. And it was like, it sold way more than it would have just because you had access to everything. People thinking that this is just PC are thinking too small and like Steam, Xbox. It's GOG eventually. GOG has a huge back compat library. It's not just GOG. Emulation, it's a PC. Anything the PC can do, now Xbox knows this deep down. They had their whole dev mode for a while quietly at the start of this generation before they had to do something about it. It was a great place where people were playing console games emulated. They were playing like GameCube games on their Xbox. It's the same thing with the Steam Deck. Valve knows this. They had Yuzu in their fucking trailer.
That's crazy.
They knew this, bro.
They knew it.
All these companies, it's the quiet, like, you know.
Yeah, it's Trojan horse. It's Trojan horse territory.
So yeah, 100%. So people who are thinking about just storefronts aren't thinking about, it's just like, when you are on Xbox more, you're more likely to spend on Xbox. If my Xbox is the device I'm going to, you know, I guess the argument is like, well, you're still spending on like the Steam storefront. Right. Again, I don't know if they work out a cut there, but I think Xbox's bet is like, you're still in that ecosystem. Maybe you just become a Game Pass subscriber. They're fine with that.
Yeah, this is the strongest argument. I think Dasher Joe's got the strongest argument, not against, but just we're just curious, right?
Like,
we don't know
what's the W.
Yeah, truly? We don't. This is a future we don't completely understand from a financial aspect because we have to admit. My question, I do feel on Dasher Joe on this part. It's like, clearly this is the plan. Phil's been hitting all this storefront stuff. They've been flirting.
Game Store, itch.io, he's already teased. So.
Exactly. And then remember, here's another thing King brought to my attention. I forgot how gangster Steam was relationship with Xbox. During the height of the FTC trial, when Jim Ryan was doing what he was doing, right? See, salute. You're supposed to block that deal. You're supposed to.
Oh, dude, this guy was all over the planet.
Yeah, he flying to all the places he was flying, right? Fair. One of the key things, they went to Steam and they were like, hey, remember when Xbox was like, hey, we're going to give out a 10-year deal? Steam told the FTC and them, we don't need no deal from Microsoft. Remember that? They were like, we have no problems with this. I thought that was very interesting. In the height of Steam could have cockblocked this, they could have shut this whole thing down. They was like, no, that's the homie. We're good. We don't even need a contract with those dudes. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know you guys were that close. I didn't know. That surprised me.
There's rumors of Steam getting in the console space. You wonder if this is help us out here. We'll help you out. Come to console. We'll put this is, by the way, me doing idealistic business.
We are completely idealistic.
I'm saying, like, then it's like, okay, we're going to help you with your console. We want to put your storefront on our box because, you know, again, you're doing like Xbox doesn't benefit from that, but that's a good partner. Like, and you know, when you're Steam and you step out like that and help push the deal through, I mean,
that's
they're going to come to collect one way or another.
There's usually some form of kickbacks on it. So
even if it's, by the way, because I know people be like, that's illegal. I'll be like, I doubt this is not a piece. This is probably a phone call.
Exactly. Between
off the record, Gabe.
Calls had to be made for Gabe and them guys to be assured, right? Prior to that, the ABK deal, you know, going down. But I guess to Desha Joy, to be in the sake of fairness and balance, I do feel that I need to know how the money does work. Yeah. Because if we in that world where Xbox has every storefront, let's be honest, there are going to be times where people are going to be like, yo, I'm just going to buy the Steam version for whatever reason. how does Xbox benefit if people are buying the other version versus the Xbox store version of their game?
I guess Xbox's plan. Here's a counter. I just thought.
Let's go. Bring it down.
Xbox's plan is to be anywhere. If you bought, Steam is not everywhere in the level Xbox is. Mm-hmm. So I guess if you buy a game on your Xbox, that is the benefit that my phone, my tablet, computer.
I get the benefit. I get the consumer get. I just want to say for the financial. Let's just simplify it. Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. What's the benefit if I buy the Indiana Jones on the Xbox storefront, where they're going to get most of the percentage of the cut? Mm-hmm. Versus let me just buy the Steam version on that same next generation Xbox where they may have to break off Steam. I'm just curious with that. I understand from a consumer standpoint, the Xbox guy can say, hey, you get this, you play anywhere you get. I get that. I'm talking about the money. I want to know
that's what I mean is I wonder if Xbox thinks in their ecosystem pitch to their audience of like, if you can buy it over there, but if you buy it with us, you get to access it in more places, and that is like why you would buy it on Xbox over Steam. Right. But they don't care because it's the same thing as like if you buy Call of Duty on PlayStation, Xbox doesn't care. They're like, we're still taking money from PlayStation. We're still still collecting that bill at the end of the day. So my thought process, obviously, you want maximum money, stakeholders. So again, I'm speaking idealistically. I can buy, but like I'm thinking about I think this is going to happen. If there is a reason, I think it's just like they're getting money either way. If it's their game, I don't think you're going to see them getting like a cut of like a PlayStation game being sold off of their Xbox. I don't think that's what's happening. I just think Xbox wants more people to access their games, and Steam is another place. It's like
another place, right? No, this is a great discussion. I'm curious with that. I'm also curious with what I consider curated lists. So like because another discussion that's coming up is like, okay, well, could PlayStation, block the amount, what could be accessed?
They need to rehire Jim. Another block is coming in.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so funny, like what could happen here. And from what I understand, it is extremely difficult for them to do that. And then they're playing games. Because the thing is, if Xbox is considered a PC, right? Steam knows what everything is, you know what I'm saying? Kind of as far as your configuration and hardware and stuff like that. So it would be very difficult for it seems from a technological standpoint to say, hey, even though it's a PC, pull our games off of that. Mm-hmm. But it's a PC, right? If that's the distinction, so to speak. This is an interesting I will say this. The key for this whole thing, and I have to be realistic now, is Xbox's execution of this.
Yeah.
In terms of how the games run, how easy is it to access, kind of thing. And then obviously, I'm in the ROG Ally space a lot. A lot of times the frustration is when you download a Steam version of a game or a PC version of a game, okay, the settings, and then you're talking a lot of back end stuff that now has to be streamlined for a console user.
If Steam is going to console, though, then
that's true.
That's true. I think is what Xbox is going to do is like it's not going to be like PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, different UI. Like I think that is all going to be unified, and whatever you see on one screen is the same on another. Otherwise, it's confusing as hell, right? Like, which I think we've already kind of put together that. But for Steam, they might be heading in that same direction of like big picture is kind of their default mode for like when you're on a console or There's a little bit of that on the Steam Deck. I don't know. I mean, they have a little bit more of the hoops to jump through for sure, which is why having them listed there at all is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because again, like, I just think that Steam coming to the console space is like a very welcome thing. And so Steam probably wants their games accessed anywhere too. Like,
Steam definitely wants theirs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess sorry to interrupt you. My last point was just my only thing, and this is where I got to be hard on Xbox now, bro. It's like, this sounds amazing. My worry is your execution with PC stuff and Windows 12 stuff and getting things to it. Like, you still struggling right now with the current thing. Now, granted, you're making strides. You did your compact mode was not all that great, but you're doing the modes now with the play anywhere, and you're doing all this information. It sounds great.
Yeah.
There's so much work involved with pulling this off smoothly. That's all I need to see.
I agree.
They're historically in the PC space, there's always been jank and issue.
Yeah.
I want to root for you. I think this is the core. I think your vision is sound. You will get me to bend the knee because I thought you guys were losing your mind and this is a stupid strategy. And I don't know just yet, bro, because this is still me holding on to old console sensibilities. I admit this is a scary future that I don't know about, right? But in theory, if you pull this off, it says, I just need to see you guys execute this. This is a lot of moving parts. But if you do, I see the vision.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? Because they've announced so many things in rapid succession. You see how quickly they can move. But when I think of these old promises, like we're going to overhaul achievements, or they've spent years kicking the can down the road for the PC app, and I'm just like, you've had so much time to figure that part out, man. Like I don't know how all of a sudden it all comes together, other than unified under this vision. It's less about making multiple SKUs, and it's like it's one thing, one size fits all screens. You know, that
right.
It's the only thing I can think of, which is how this is accelerated to a way where it's realistic. But you bring up a good point that we're putting a lot of faith into a team that takes a very long time to execute certain things, and we'll see because they, you know, what's weird is like the Xbox dashboard just gets these random updates like we were talking about earlier. Like the game hubs, it's just like, hi, here it is, hi. It's like, the fuck who was asking for this? Where the fuck did this? I like it, but I'm like, where did this fucking come from? Like, aren't these things you kind of wait for until the next generation, where you're like, hey, here's the overhaul of the dashboard. Now we have game hubs, and it's like a feature you talk about. They're like, fuck it, push it. That's the thing. I know AI is different because you got to train a model, but they keep saying they want to put things out early to get feedback. You know, so I feel like I think the lightning rod moment will be that partner handheld. That is where we'll see like, here's phase one.
Good call.
Here's phase one. Here's this new UI. We're all going to look at it and be like, oh my God, this is great, or this sucks, or whatever it is in the middle. And then Xbox iterates from there, and 2027 is when they're like, okay, I've collected all the feedback.
I agree.
Here is the overhauled, renewed version of it.
No, I agree. And technically in corporate, that's what you're supposed to do. You kind of do it in phases and the learnings. And maybe, again, our concern is when we see the new game hub and stuff like that, these are these iterative steps that they have already got their mock-up of what the future is, but they're going to implement this now, get the feedback, get the learnings, and then do it. But again, we just hope the execution with all these steps is a smooth thing, because again, this is very important for them. And it could really determine a lot. Like, they're going to make money regardless with a multi-platform future. I think the early signs are positive. The question for me, like we always said, was hardware, right? But now, if these rumors tend to be true, and I do believe that it's not a coincidence that Steam thing was there. It's not a coincidence that they pulled it off.
The writing's been on the wall for so long.
Yeah, you know? We have evidence right now with Steam accessing through Game Bar. So, yeah, if you pull that off, you and again, they want a nice price. You could be in a really good space for the future as far as doing something that's unprecedented.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to learn more about this. And so that partner handheld can't come soon enough.
Yes, we learned a lot.
All right, Cog. Last phase of the show here. Game Pass pick of the week. You've got the selection, good sir. What do you have for us?
Yeah, man, I want to get some love, man, because we talked about this era right now. It is just so busy. It is so many games. It's so crazy. It's a lot. And I've been, shout out to Thunder Lotus, 33 Immortals. I've been part of this like alpha early team, or I've been giving feedback to them early. I've been playing this game a lot. I couldn't talk about it during this time, but now it's out. I can talk about it. It just, it's this action top level roguelike, beautiful art style.
Yeah.
And what I would say is, for guys, if you like a Hades, now I won't go to in depth with the Hades stuff, but some basic levels of it. And then, you have the aspect of picking your weapon. You got your 4 styles. What I personally like is the arrow style. So like you shoot the arrows out. And then what happens is they kind of leave remnants in the playing field. And then you can press another button to bring them back to do more damage to the enemies. So this is extremely challenging game. Torment. So busy. It's like pick up and play Hades and raid the game. Right? So you got this narrative, this soul, saying you're in this eternal hell kind of thing. You're fighting for your soul back. You go to this area. And the thing about this game, man, it is really addicting. And one thing that's really cool, so you get up to 4 people in your immediate party, right? I think you can do couch co-op as well. And then you go out, you guys do your missions, and then you go and do your dungeon, and then they have the torments and then the boss phases. Bro, these boss phases are amazing. Mechanics, you fight this big Lucifer thing, you can you can take like target the arms, and if you do, you could pretty much prevent like a white mechanic that would happen. So they get challenging. And here's the thing, for the guys that I already know, like for the people who play like the single player guys, right? They can be like, I don't want to know co-op. The beauty of 33 Immortals is the actual communication system, almost Apex level in a way of not having a voice. You don't need to talk to people.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I need this. And the coordinated aspect of being together in a team all the time is an advantage in this game. So look, is it going to be for everyone? No. But I do feel it's worth a shot because as a single player, I was enjoying it. I was like, yo, this is dope. And then you see other people in the world, all right, let me go help them out. We're going to do our thing and tackle bosses and then the loot and the grind and then doing things towards your health and stuff like that. So I want to shout out my man, this is a shameless plug. I want to shout out my man, Subag, in the realm of the Dukes. It's on Lords of Gaming Network YouTube channel. So put in Lords of Gaming Network and put in 33 Immortals. If you want to get a feel of this game, he did a fantastic job. I'm telling y'all right now, it's worth firing this joint up on Game Pass. It is truly fun, man. I just feel bad that it's out amongst all of this madness that is out right now. But if you like these style of games, beautiful art style, great difficulty, challenging, fun, doesn't take up super amounts of time like you doing some MMO type joint, but it's addicting, man. They have a great addicting loop. 33 Immortals, man. Big fan of this game.
100%. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. I know Addict was really.
He goes hard. Yeah. Me and him been rocking. It is a good palate cleanse type game too.
Good stuff. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Defining Duke, episode 221 in the books. Cog, what are we feeling for our hashtag?
Yeah, we gotta flip it on that new. What we gonna call? What's you know what I'm saying? The rule them all. What's up with that? We got to get that. You know what I'm saying? Like something with that box and that steam and everything that's around this is the hottest thing moving right now. Everybody's
gonna say 1DD to rule them all.
Yeah, 1DD. Oh yeah, 1D to rule them all. I mean that's long.
That's the long one. Can we trust the English?
Trust them.
Yeah. I say we go for it.
Let's go for it.
All right.
1DD, what's what we
Our
doing?
longest hashtag yet, no doubt. Hashtag 1DD to rule them all. You can tag us on Twitter. I am at G27status. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Again, hashtag 1DD to rule them all. If you don't want to go ahead and go over to social media, we don't blame you. You can go to the comment section. Hashtag 1DD to rule them all. Let us know your thoughts. Cog, this has been a great episode. Any closing thoughts as we make our exit?
A lot of news as always. Xbox keeps us busy.
Yep.
Tons of stuff.
I'm
tons
sure
of
we'll
games.
be very busy next week.
Next week is going to be even more busy.
Yeah.
April is a coming.
Yes,
let's just say that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll catch you next week for what is undoubtedly going to be a very busy week. But until then, stay cozy, stay good, stay healthy, stay not depressed, all that good stuff. And we'll catch all of you for episode 222 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.